ensconced here behind home plate at Yankee Stadium. And I guess the first thing we ought to do is set the ballpark in your mind's eye. 310 down the right field line, 353 straightaway right, falling off to 385 and 417 to straightaway center. In left center field, that would be the original Heartbreak Alley here. It's 430. Then behind the left field at 387 and 312 down the line. The Yankees defensively, the left-hander Ron Guidry on the hill, Rick Cerrone behind the plate, Bob Watson at first, Willie Randolph at second, Larry Milburn at short, and Greg Nettles at third. Dave Winfield in left, Jerry Mumphrey in center, and Lou Piniella around in right. Another thing to report, the weather. It is 55 degrees. That is almost tropical compared to what was taking place up in Montreal as Davy Lope slowly makes his way to home plate. And Sparky, it's good to be back with you, although I know how you feel. You'd rather be down there managing in the World Series.
Well, I appreciate it, Vinny, and this is going to be a great series, especially after the great playoffs that just finished with the Dodgers and Montreal, and I think this is a toss-up series. I really do.
Davy Lopes, who hit only .206 during the regular year, he had a bad back, he had a groin pull, then he hurt his hand, and he is playing with a bruised heel on the right hand. Back 4 years ago, he hit a home run in the World Series against Ron Guidry, but I don't think those numbers really apply anymore, do they, Spark?
I think you can throw everything out. This is just going to be a great series. The weather holds up. I think it'll even be better. The better the weather, the better the baseball is going to be then.
Davy has not had the power at all that he had in his earlier years with the Dodgers, but he still does his base-running tricks, and Guidry's first pitch over for a strike in the count 0-1. To sum up, Guidry, sinker ball pitcher, what is he?
Breaking ball now. He'll throw more sliders, 60 to 70% sliders, and use his fastball and spotter.
The strike one pitch on the way. There's the fastball. Foul back to the screen, 0-2. So Ron Guidry, the Louisiana Lightning man. He's from Lafayette, Louisiana. He makes his home there. 5'11", 162-pounder, 31 years old. 0-2 to Davy Lopes. Lopes hit only .206 during the regular year. He fouls the next pitch back, and it's still 0-2. How about Guidry if you were managing against him and you had somebody like a Lopes coming up? Would you bunt against him? Is he a good fielding pitcher?
He's a great athlete. No, you're not going to bunt on him, but what you have to do is you got to make him get the ball up in. If he's going to try to strike Lopes out in the dirt with his breaking ball.
Where's the strike two pitch on the way? And Guidry's pitch is hit back a third, smothered by Greg Nettles. Gets up, throws, got him. Boy, does that bring back memories of 1978 when Nettles was the human vacuum cleaner at third base.
And it brings back 1970 to Brooks Robinson. It seems something about these third basemen, Nettles and Robinson, just outstanding. Ben, I think this is going to be the setting for this World Series, where it's going to be just a great plate series.
I'll tell you another setting. Lasorda is already out there with first base umpire Nick Colosi arguing on the play. So it's going to be bitterly contested, you can bet.
And that's what's going to be so good about it. Tommy just came off a tremendous playoff with Montreal. They're still hyped up, and he's going to show right away that this is going to be a war out here.
You know, the Dodgers in their long history have been in 16 World Series. When they were in Brooklyn representing the borough, they were in 9, and they lost 8 of the 9. But the one they did win, they won it right here in 1955. Since moving to Los Angeles, the Dodgers have been in 7 World Series, winning 3, losing 4, and their most satisfying World Series victory in Los Angeles, a 4-game sweep over the Yankees.
Yeah, anytime, I don't care what they talk about, the Los Angeles Dodgers, these people here still remember him as a Brooklyn Dodger.
Oh, Steve Garvey wears a Brooklyn Dodger T-shirt under his shirt.
Right.
Here's Bill Russell hitting .233. He's an inspirational factor to the Dodgers, and Guidry picks up a strike on the outside corner.
Then the umpire behind the plate, Barnett's just an excellent umpire, and you're going to see a ball game where you're not going to see any complaining about the umpire behind the plate. He's outstanding.
The strike one pitch is a fastball foul back, and so Guidry, who put the heat 0-2 to Lopes, comes right back 0-2 on Bill Russell. Russell has a stress fracture under the ball of his foot. He's had it for a couple of years, played in pain. He's going to have an operation at the end of the year. He also has a mashed index finger and an arthritic wrist. He fouls the pitch away, 0-2. And Sparky, the last couple of weeks, one of the Dodger weapons has disappeared because Russell is having a lot of trouble trying to control the bat in order to go to right field and play hit and run.
It makes it tough with that finger. This man credit the year he's had then playing under those conditions.
The pitch foul back in the count 0-2. So Ron Guidry trying to get the Yankees off and running. 2-0 in World Series competition against the Dodgers. You remember, of course, that the Yankees knocked off the Dodgers in 77 and again in 78. Guidry into the windup, and the strike 2 pitch to Bill Russell. Fastball away, just to show it to him. He hasn't thrown any in the dirt yet, Spark.
He'll start throwing that slider in the dirt. That's where he wants to throw it, especially with 2 strikes.
And, of course, come to think of it, Lopes and Russell don't figure to drive it out of the park anyway. The 1-2 pitch is a one-hopper at shortstop. Big bounce for Larry Milburn. It throws him out. The Yankees missed Bucky Dent, without a doubt.
They missed Bucky Dent, but I'll tell you one thing. Larry Milburn has just done an outstanding job. Everybody always said he was a utility player, and I think he has proved since Bucky's been out the last 5-6 weeks that he's just been an excellent player for him.
Yeah, he's hit .313. So with 2 down in the first inning, here's Dusty Baker. Baker, a big hitter for the Dodgers during the regular year, hit .320 at 9 home runs, 49 RBIs. He struggled a little bit during the championship series. He takes inside ball 1. On deck, Steve Garvey. And going into this series, the Dodgers have not hit a lick since the first week in September.
Well, that's not unusual, though, Vinny. That pressure on you, and let's face it, it's a little tough.
Pitch to Baker high and inside, so for the first time now that he's dealing with somebody who can hit it out, Guidry has fallen behind 2 balls, no strikes. Remember, he was 0-2 to both Lopes and Russell. Ron into the windup. The left-hander ready, and the 2-0 pitch. Bake pops it up, and going out into shallow right field is Willie Randolph. The second baseman is there, and that's it in the first inning. The Dodgers going out, what is it they say, like a box of Kleenex? 1, 2, 3. We'll see a lot of that. And at the end of half an inning, Dodgers nothing, and the Yankees coming up.
Looking for an early Christmas present? How about an 81 Skylark? Your participating Buick dealer is rolling back interest rates on car loans for all new 81 Skylarks delivered through November 11th to a 12.9% annual percentage rate for qualified retail buyers. Buick has also made it possible for your dealer to offer additional savings. See your Buick dealer for details. At 12.9% financing, a Skylark is the perfect gift. But don't try to hide it under the bed. Someone's bound to see it.
Know what I'm doing? I'm replacing a burned-out engine. The guy's new car only had idiot lights instead of gauges, so he couldn't keep an eye on the oil pressure. That's why I recommend a mini-panel gauge cluster, the early warning system from Stewart Warner. It warns you about problems before they occur, and it's so compact it fits right on the dash. With today's smaller, harder-working engines, idiot lights may be too late. Get a mini-panel from Stewart Warner. Do yourself a favor.
From Yankee Stadium in New York, Vin Scully along with Sparky-Anderson, we're breaking the seal on the 1981 World Series. The Dodgers out in order. Let's take a look at them defensively. Jerry Royce on the mound and Steve Yeager behind the plate. An infield of Steve Garvey and Davy Lopes, Bill Russell and Ron Say. In the outfield, Dusty Baker is in left, Pedro Guerrero in center, and Rick Monday in right. And Sparky, the Dodgers come into this game with a poor defensive outfield, but they're sacrificing defense, trying to get some punch in the lineup, even though you have a left-hand hitter in Monday in right field.
Well, you know, I don't know too much about Guerrero because I haven't had a chance to see him and I haven't seen Rick play in the last 2 years, but Baker's a pretty good outfielder, no doubt about that. I think the one thing that they're finding out, and I notice the way they're lining, they'll play a bunch more in Yankee Stadium, and they give the lines here, Vinny, and that's the way the Yankee outfield plays.
Well, Jerry Royce will be pitching to Willie Randolph, then Jerry Mumphrey, and Dave Winfield. And, of course, for Royce, one of the big 3 with the Dodgers, Bert Hooton and Fernando Valenzuela. Royce, the big blonde, 1-1 in postseason play, losing to Montreal after beating Houston. 10-4 during the regular year. And Willie Randolph, the right-hand hitter, takes a fastball at the knuckles, ball 1. Randolph hitting .232. Sparky, in looking at Royce's stuff, I wonder if you could apply it to the hitters for us. Here's the 1-0 pitch, punched on the ground to the right side to Lopes, who plugs up the hole and throws him out.
Right there, Vin, that ground ball. I think we're going to see it all night from Royce. I happen to be a Royce fan. I think Jerry Royce is one of the most unpublicized pitchers in the game. He's an outstanding pitcher. When he's from the waist down, his ball has such movement. And if he's there, he's going to be an awful tough man to beat.
Well, the batter is Jerry Mumphrey. Mumphrey, a switch hitter, and he had a fine year hitting .307. Not much power, half a dozen home runs. Slow curve is hit foul off first base, out of play. How do you work Mumphrey during the year? First of all, defensively, do you just give him the lines, or you do it all here?
You bunch him, give him the lines. He's a slap hitter. He likes the ball up right-handed out over the plate where he can play with it a little bit.
The strike 1 pitch, off speed, up and outside. 1 ball and 1 strike, the count. 1 away in the first inning, no score. The Yankees, winners of 33 pennants in their great career in the American League. The 1-1 pitch punched on the hole, through into right field for a base hit. So maybe that's the way to work against a low ball pitcher. Go the other way with him.
Well, you've got to go the other way when you do that. But let me say this: that anytime you throw up a ground ball, to me, the pitcher's done his job. And I call them CNI dogs when they go through on the ground.
So Jerry Mumphrey singles to right. And now, certainly no stranger to the Dodgers, Dave Winfield, the great all-around talent whom the Dodgers battled when he was in San Diego. And Winfield, over in the American League, hit .294. He had 13 home runs, 68 runs batted in. So the big guy, an amazing all-around athlete in football, baseball, and basketball. In fact, when he was at the University of Minnesota, he was drafted in all three sports. How do you pitch him?
Well, he's changed a little bit. He's off the plate much further than you remember in the National League. You have to run the ball in, out of the strike zone, inside, and then down and away from him. That's tough to do, but that's where you got to pitch him.
Off speed for a strike. Do you change up on him much?
Don't like to change on him much because I tell you what, he likes to get those hands out, and inside he's a little slower inside. If he gets to extend those hands, he hits the ball right out of the ballpark.
Of course, that's really the word with any big hitter. You don't want to have him extend those arms.
And that's why I don't like to change speeds too much on him, Ben.
0-1 the count to Dave Winfield. First inning, no score. Royce, a fastball, chased and missed. That was low out of the strike zone. 0-2. Jerry Mumphrey has singled to right field with one out in the first inning. Lou Piniella is on deck. Reggie Jackson unable to answer the bell, which brings up another interesting point. This World Series played without the designated hitter. Do you think that's a serious blow for the Yankees?
Well, I think it just takes away an awful lot of their offensive power. You're used to having that, a Gamble in there all year, or Piniella. It makes a big difference.
The strike two pitch is a low fastball, chased and missed. And again, Winfield going after something downstairs, and he came up empty. So 2 out, and it might sound like boos as Winfield is going back to the dugout, but they're really chanting Lou for Piniella, who is coming up. Lou Piniella hitting .277, 5 home runs, 18 RBIs during the regular year. And Piniella now coming up with a runner at first and 2 down. And you know, Sparky, Royce is not a strikeout pitcher by any means.
Well, he's not a strikeout pitcher, but when you keep the ball down in movement that he has, especially if they start chasing that stuff down on him, he is going to strike out a few people.
Royce out of his stretch. The left-hander delivers. Breaking ball hit down the right field line. Just fair in the corner. It might have been touched by a fan. It was. Ground rule double. That means Mumphrey has to go back to third. Stopping at second, Lou Piniella. And it looked like a breaking ball up.
Loves to hit the breaking ball. That's the thing he likes to do, and he likes to go to right field so much now. Only time he'll ever try to pull a ball and hit a home run if you need that shot. Then I'll tell you, he's a big game player, too. He can play the big game.
Well, another fella whom we recognize from his years in the National League, Bob Watson, coming up. Watson hurt himself opening day. He tore a muscle high up in the groin area, and that really wrecked his year, but he's back, although he says he still feels twinges of pain. They'll pitch to him with first base open, and Royce delivers good fastball for a strike. So Mumphrey singled to right, and with 2 out, Piniella hit a hanging breaking ball into right for a double. Mumphrey would have scored, except the ball was interfered with. Now the strike one pitch on the way to Bob Watson. Fastball low, he wouldn't bite, and the count 1-1. Watson hit only .212, but as we said, he was in and out of the lineup with the bad leg. You have to be careful with him.
He's a guy that gets you a big hit, Ben. He's a professional. He's been around so long, he knows what it's all about.
1-1 pitch, fastball, hit foul outside of first. Mike Ferraro giving out a wide berth. Joe Aldebelli coaching at third for New York. 1-2 to Bob Watson. And looking back over Royce's year, his high in strikeouts, only 6, but his high in walks, only 3. The most runs he gave up in a game, 5. He usually keeps you in the ball game. The 1-2 pitch to Watson, swung on, and a high fly ball into deep right center. Back goes Monday, away back to the wall. It's gone. Watson hits one over the right center field fence with runners at second and third. and the Yankees have a big 3-0 lead in the first inning, and Greg Nettles coming up. And for Jerry Royce, he's not pitching his game. His pitches are up.
Jerry didn't want to throw that pitch. He wanted to get the ball down the way, and he got it up and away. He knows Bobby loves the ball up and away, and it's one of those mistakes.
Royce ready and delivers, slow curve, and there's a high fly ball into deep right. Back goes Monday at the wall, and the breeze brings it back, and Monday makes the catch. But that's a far cry from the Jerry Royce we've been accustomed to seeing all year. 3 runs, 3 hits at the end of an inning. The Yankees 3 and the Dodgers nothing.
Buds for you, for being on the job and working hard all day. So here's to you, here's to you. You know it isn't only what you say, it's what you do. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis.
Year-round live coverage of the tops in sports. You get it all from CBS Radio Sports. NFL football, the Masters Golf Tournament, U.S. Open Tennis, the Davis Cup Final, NCAA basketball, the Cotton Bowl, and, of course, the World Series. All these and more are yours with CBS Radio Sports. Hear it here. The Dodgers are in just the position they dreaded to be in, behind by a couple and early in the game, knowing, of course, the Yankees have tremendous strength in their bullpen.
It's not tremendous, Vinny. I think it's probably the best, I know in my 30 years in baseball, the best I've ever seen on one team, where you have 2 people of such quality of Davis and Gossage. We all know about Gossage, but the thing the fans don't really realize, Davis is just outstanding. And when you have 2 people on one ball club of that quality, I tell you, it makes it awesome.
And for Ron Guidry, 3 runs to lean on as we go into the second inning. In case you joined us a little late, with 1 out, Jerry Mumphrey singled to right. With 2 out, Lou Piniella doubled him to third, and then Watson hit a home run over the right center field fence. Interestingly enough, they pitched to the right-hand hitter with first base open, and then, of course, had the left-hand hitting Nettles come up and get him on a fly ball, but it was a long fly ball.
Well, I think it was the first inning of the first game, and I think that Tommy knows Jerry. Jerry knew what he wanted to do. Jerry wanted to be down out of the strike zone on that pitch, Vinny, and he just got up. You know what? He could be a little tired, truthfully, from pitching with 3 days rest so much in this playoff. You know, the Dodgers have been used to going on 4 days, Vinny, and sometimes at this point, I don't care who you are, you can get a little tired.
Oh, sure. Well, Steve Garvey, followed by Ron Cey, and then Pedro Guerrero. And for the Dodgers now, they find themselves in a somewhat familiar position. They're behind. They were behind in games to Houston, and they were behind to Montreal. And the pitch to Garvey, up and away, ball 1, 1-0. Garvey, during the regular year, hit .283, 10 home runs, 64 runs batted in. He has played in 945 consecutive regular season games. A 1-0 pitch swung on and missed. And, of course, he just doesn't miss any ever since he got in the starting lineup.
Well, he can play a little bit. I think he's one of the pretty good players in our game.
1-1 to Steve. 3-0 Yankees. We're in the top of the second inning. Ron Guidry, an 11-game winner during the year. The left-hander back low and inside. Guidry was 5-3 during the first half of the season, and then came back, and at one stage of the second half, he was 6-0 and wound up 6-2. 2 balls, 1 strike. Guidry ready, delivers, and it's on the inside corner. What was that?
That's that hard slider of his. I'm telling you, when he gets in the groove with it, he can get awful tough.
2-2, the count to Garvey. Garvey in, backs out.
I was going to say, you know, the old-time Brooklyn Dodger fans, the one thing they can remember about this club, the L.A. Dodgers don't quit either.
No, that's true. 2-2 pitch. Line drive off the glove of a leaping Nettles. You mean he doesn't catch them all?
Not all of them.
And over to first is Steve Garvey with a line drive single. Boy, that's shocking news. So Garvey singles off Nettles' glove. Gregg already making a great play. taking an extra base hit away from Davy Lopes. And the batter, Ron Say. Say was hit on the arm in the regular season in the middle of September by Tommy Griffin of the Giants, suffered a break in the arm, missed the championship series with Houston, but played against Montreal. And he has a protective covering on his left forearm, and it'll be on there all the time, both fielding and hitting. He takes a low fastball, ball one, and Pedro Guerrero on deck. Awesome Yankee Stadium. I would think this would give any young ball player somewhat of a fright to first come on this field.
Might scare him a little bit.
The 1-0 pitch is swung on and popped up. Back at first base, and Bob Watson on the wire now goes into fair ground and makes the catch. So Say, popping up to Bob Watson, one down, and Pedro Guerrero the batter. Guerrero, just a young hitter, played a good part of the year in right field. Then when Say was hit, they put him at third. And now in the tough pressure-packed games with Montreal and now in the World Series, he's playing center field. That's a heavy load.
It sure is, Benny. I had a chance to see him a few times on television, but I talked to Ray Shore, who does all the scouting for the Cincinnati Ball Club, and he gave me a good rundown on Mr. Guerrero. He says he likes that fastball.
He loves it. Guidry ready and delivers, and there's the fastball, and he's surprised. Of course, he's in a slump. He had a dreadful series against Montreal. He hit into 5 double plays in the 5 games. At one time this year, he was hitting .327, and he wound up hitting .300. But he has not been hitting the ball well at all. The strike one pitch, another fastball, and he's late. Fouls it away upstairs off first base and down the line. 0-2. On deck, Rick Monday. So Garvey, a line single off Nettles' glove. Say pops up, and immediately Guidry challenging Guerrero. And the Yankees know full well he loves fastballs, but he came right after him.
Yeah, I guess they wanted. He was away with it. I'll say one thing about it. He got the ball away from him anyway.
0-2 the count, and Guidry delivers, and it's swung on and missed. Hard breaking ball down and in. There's that pitch you were talking about.
That's the one with 2 strikes. It gets to be awful, and I keep screaming on the bench. I'd say, make him bring it up. Well, they said, Skip, it looks like it's up when you swing.
And it wound up in the dirt. It was dug out by Rick Cerrone. So there's strikeout number 1 for Guidry. He had a high of 9 against Minnesota this year. And here is Rick Monday. And, of course, Monday didn't play much against left-handers. But in order to try and get a little sock in there, because Kenny Landreau, a left-hand hitter, just stopped completely, so Monday's playing.
I'll tell you, though, Ben, he had a great year for you. He really filled in and picked up that ball club whenever they needed it.
That's right. He hit .315 during the regular year. Guidry ready, and the pitch is cut on and fouled back out of play. Cerrone coming back to take a look, but that's about all. 0-1, the count to Rick Monday. And, of course, Monday pays a price. He has that big, hard swing. He strikes out a lot. In fact, he had 5 previous at-bats before the game-winning home run, and he had struck out 4 of the 5 times. But he got that 3-1 pitch up, and he hit it out.
He's an old pro, too. It helps.
0-1, the count to Rick Monday with Steve Yeager on deck. Garvey at first, Watson not holding the bag. He's about 2 feet behind it. And Guidry leaning on his right knee, now straightens up. Set and delivers, and that one goes outside and high. 1 ball and 1 strike.
You know, Ben, I'd hate to be a scout coming in here to scout a ball club, because in the outfield here, they just play everybody bunched, and they're playing Monday a little bit in dead center to left center and leaving them a little gap in right center, but basically they just bunch all their outfielders.
If you want to try and pull it down the line, you're welcome to it. 1-1, Guidry out of a stretch, looks at Garvey, and the pitch is high, ball 2, 2-1. That thing wiggles. Is he turning that ball over?
Every now and then he turns some of his fastballs over. He has not been really throwing his real good slider yet. I don't think he's real loose yet. He threw one real good one, you know, in there to Guerrero, but that's the only real good one he's thrown so far.
The movement on that last pitch almost crossed up Cerrone. 2-1, the count to Rick Monday. Guidry ready, Ron delivers. Fastball, swung on and missed. Actually, a little piece of it fouled into Cerrone's mid. Larry Barnett is the plate umpire. Nick Colosi at first. Terry Cooney at second. Doug Harvey of the National League at third. Rich Garcia on the left field line, and Dick Stello of the National League on the right field line. 2-2, and the crowd asking Guidry to put him away. Guidry, the Yankees' leading winner and strikeouts. The left-hander's 2-2 pitch is waved at and missed. He took a little off as he cut the ball, and Monday was way out in front of it. So down go the Dodgers with a base hit, and they leave Garvey, and at the end of an inning and a half, the Yankees 3 and the Dodgers nothing.
There's the man who gives big values on the hardware that you need. And when you need a little help, you know you found a friend indeed. Service Star. Next to the man who owns the store. Service Star. It's the greatest name in hardware. Next to the man who owns the store. Service Star. It's the greatest name in hardware.
Policyholders move, but they seldom move away from State Farm. Just about anywhere you relocate in America, a State Farm agent is there. So you can keep on getting the same kind of good neighbor service you were used to. Life, health, home, or car. State Farm is there to give you a good price and great service on all your family insurance wherever you go.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
This broadcast is presented by authority of the Major League Baseball, intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the descriptions and accounts of this game without the express written consent of Major League Baseball is prohibited. You want to feel a little old? How about this? Happy birthday today to Hall of Famer and Yankee great Mickey Mantle, who is 50 years old today. And just to make you feel even older, tomorrow another Hall of Famer, Whitey Ford, celebrates his 53rd birthday.
I'd like to look like Mickey does when I get 50.
Gee whiz, you talk about Tempest Fugit. Ford and Mantle. As Dean Martin says, they're playing the back nine.
Yeah.
Aren't we all?
Play.
Nick Cerrone, the catcher, to lead it off, and he takes high and outside. Ball 1-1-0. Rick hit .244 during the year, just 2 home runs. So I don't imagine he has much power.
He's got a little power, but this ballpark eats him up.
The 1-0 pitch is a fastball low, ball 2, 2-0. So Jerry Royce opening up against Ron Guidry. Tomorrow night, it'll be Tommy John and Bird Hooton. Here's the 2-0 pitch on the way. Royce delivers, and the fastball's in there for a strike. Then Thursday is a travel day, and Friday, from Dodger Stadium, it'll be Righetti and Valenzuela. The 2-1 pitch to Cerrone is a big chopper to shortstop, fielded by Russell, who sets for the throw and gets him. So Cerrone rolls to short, 1 down. That'll bring up Larry Milburn, who at one time in his young career was with the Houston Astros and has done a marvelous job for the Yankees, filling in for Bucky Dent. As we mentioned, he was hitting .313 for the last few weeks of the year. He had 1 home run, 12 RBIs. He's a switch hitter, hitting right-handed. Royce ready, comes to him with a pitch, swung on and fouled, 0-1.
I tell you, man, the L.A. people are going to love to see this kid Righetti. He reminds you of Valenzuela in the sense, when he walks out of the dugout, he walks very tall and very proud to that mound because he knows one thing. He got some good stuff to take out there.
Yeah, right. And, of course, he's from California. I think he's up around the San Jose area. Here's the strike 1 pitch on the way. Off speed and outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Milburn this year, in the 8 postseason games played by the Yankees, hit .375, so he's really made his contributions. The 1-1 pitch, off speed, waved at and missed, 1-2. So Royce trying to settle down, but of course he was dealt quite a body blow, that 3-run home run by Bob Watson, with 2 out in the first inning. Milburn backs out for the moment, now back up to the plate. Royce into the windup, and the 1-2 fastball is hit back off his leg. He can't find it. Now he does. Picks it up, throws him out, and Yeager out to the mound to make sure he's okay. Bill Bueller, the Dodger trainer, goes running out to the mound. Larry Barnett, the plate umpire, he wants to go out and look at the ball. So you see, everybody's going out concerned about Royce except the plate umpire.
Yeah, the plate umpire. But I'll tell you one thing, you got to give Royce credit. There's a shot back at you. He didn't worry about the pain. He went and got the ball. He wants to get out. He'll find out later how bad the pain is.
They got him off the right ankle, and while they talk to him, let's pause 5 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the CBS Radio Network.
This is WBBM Chicago.
Jerry Royce will be allowed to take a couple of practice tosses. Since it hit him on the right ankle, that takes all the weight of his body as he comes off the rubber. And so he has now thrown 2 and said he's okay, and Larry Barnett said, well, then let's get with it. Ron Guidry coming up. Guidry, of course, hasn't swung a bat.
That's nice. You haven't swung all year, and you get to face Royce, a nice left-hander.
That's all I can think of in the All-Star game when the American League ran out of players, and they had the pitcher face Bruce Sutter. Guidry swings, doesn't get it, and the count 0-1. But Ron Guidry leading 3-0 on a first-inning 3-run bomb by Bob Watson. He hit about 230 in the minors, whatever that means.
I don't know what that helps right now, though.
That's a great note. 0-2 the count. 2 down. Bottom of the second inning, 3-0 Yanks. A fastball is hit foul, and he will get an ovation just for making contact.
He'll say something when he goes back to the dugout, too.
0-2 to Ron Guidry, the Alligator, from Lafayette, Louisiana. Left-hand batter. Royce, who is not known as a strikeout pitcher, he'll average 3 or 4 a game, and he has 1 so far tonight. The strike 2 pitch waved at me off speed, and Guidry walks back to the dugout. So the Yankees are out in order 1-2-3, and at the end of 2, the Yankees 3 and the Dodgers nothing.
See America on Cooper's great Cooper radial tires for your vacation drive.
For a chain that can pull more than its own weight over the long haul, get the ACO 12-foot utility chain from True Value Hardware Stores. Hi, Pat Summerall to tell you the 5/16-inch low-carbon steel links are strong enough to pull up to 1,370 pounds. And the tough grab-slip hooks let you securely tow cars, recreational vehicles, farm equipment, and more. And with the winter months just about here, True Value Hardware Stores suggest you include the ACO 12-foot chain as part of your winter driving gear. This rugged utility chain can be a big help in getting out of deep snow or an icy spot. And there are many other year-round uses for this handy accessory. Get the ACO utility chain for just $16.19 from participating True Value Hardware Stores and home centers. And get the current edition of my 4-part, full-color, all-time great Sports Stars collection free with any $10 or more purchase while supplies last at participating True Value Hardware Stores and home centers, where you'll find values in every department. And tell them Pat Summerall sent you.
We're going to the third inning here at Yankee Stadium, Game 1 of the 1981 World Series, and the Yankees sitting on top of a 3-0 lead. In the first inning with 1 out, Jerry Mumphrey grounded a single to right. Winfield struck out for the second out, but Lou Piniella hit one into right field for a ground rule double. And then Bob Watson came up and hit one over the right center field fence. Royce unable to get the ball down except while pitching to Dave Winfield, whom he struck out on pitches almost in the dirt.
Well, that's where he's got to pitch. Jerry has to pitch low, Vinny. You know that. And just like I was going to say, Yeager ought to be ashamed of himself leading off here after poor guy hasn't hit all these last 5 or 6 years. Guidry, now he's going to throw him a slow curve with 2 strikes.
You know, when Guidry struck out, he walked away, kind of looked back at Royce. And knowing how sensitive ball players are, you wonder if he didn't think he was trying to show him up.
No, I think he probably said, my guys, man, where did that one ever come from? Yeager ought to be ashamed of himself.
Here comes Yeager now, so it'll be interesting to see what he gets from Ron Guidry. Yeager has had a thoroughly forgettable year. That's the best way to put it. He hit .209. He lost his job to Mike Scioscia. But if you make a mistake, he's strong enough. He hit 3 home runs. And the pitch to him is taken for a strike on 1. But he is not of the best mental state coming into this game. It's one of those things, well, I never play, so I don't expect to do well, that kind of thing. The strike 1 pitch to Yeager, change, and he's way out in front of it, so he gave him a little of the off-speed back.
Well, the thing I always remember about Yeager, though, he could throw and he could catch. Well, and he had power on that fastball up.
0-2, the count is Steve Yeager. Leading off matters in the third inning. Ron Guidry into the windup. The left-handed deals down and away with a fastball, ball 1. The Dodgers have 1 hit. A line drive single by Garvey off Greg Nettles' glove. Lopes lost a double on a diving stop by Nettles in the first inning. The 1-2 pitch chased and missed, breaking ball in the dirt, and Yeager goes back to the dugout.
If you chase that one, you're going to be in trouble all night. And I scream every time we see him, Ben, but I guess to the hitters, it looks belt high and then it explodes. That's what my guys say.
And Guidry now has struck out 3 in a row. Guerrero and Monday to end the second inning. Yeager to open up the third, and Jerry Royce coming up.
Now we'll see if he'll have some fun with Mr. Royce. Pretty good hitter, I always remember.
Not bad, not bad. He makes contact. He's a pretty good bunter. And we'll see how he goes against Ron Guidry. He had 3 RBIs, hit right around 200. The Dodgers down 3-0, and they're in trouble because they have just not been scoring a lot of runs. Guidry into the windup and delivers, and the fastball is low. Ball 1, 1-0. Davy Lopes on deck. 3 runs, 3 hits for the Yankees, no runs, 1 hit for the Dodgers. Guidry comes right back 1-0, and the fastball in for a strike, 1-1. He likes to work somewhat in a hurry.
Very quick. All their pitchers work very, very fast.
Do you try to slow them down?
No, I figure this way, If we can't hit him, at least it's a fast game.
Royce swings and misses, strike 2. 1-2, the count. Billy Martin tried to slow Ron Davis down. Here's the 1-2 pitch, and Royce swings, fouls it back. One away in the third inning. The Yankees 3, the Dodgers nothing. Tomorrow night, Tommy John and Bert Hooton. That'll be a great matchup. That'll be 8:10 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on most of these same CBS stations. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Royce. Low and outside. Ball 2. 2-2. Royce pumping the wood back and forth. Guidry comes to him, in on the hands, half swing, strike 3, says Larry Barnett. Royce stays up to argue for a moment. And now Barnett explaining, and Jerry turns and walks away. So that's 4 consecutive strikeouts for Ron Guidry. And the batter will be the leadoff man, Davy Lopes. And Lopes will consume a little bit of time to let Royce get back in the dugout. It looked like he swung.
He swung at the ball, Benny. But, you know, it's funny. When you do it yourself, you don't really realize it.
I remember when Jocko Conlon umpired in the National League for 20-some-odd years, and you remember him as well as I do. And he used to say, having played in the big leagues, there's no such thing as a half swing. Either they go around or I don't call it.
Jocko also, I told him one day, I said, Burnett's throwing a spitter. He said, well, you better learn to hit it.
Here's Lopes, 0 for 1, and Guidry delivers. There's a one-hopper, backhanded it short by Milburn, throws him out. Well, the Dodgers know the left side of the Yankee infield is very tough.
Yeah, they can catch the ball over there, and that's the one thing about Randolph, Milburn, and Nettles. Excellent defensively.
At the end of 2.5 innings, Yankees 3, Dodgers nothing.
A lot of good people work for Commercial Credit. That's what makes Commercial Credit work.
The size of the company is nice because of its strength and reputation. But what it really gets down to is it's me dealing one-on-one with a customer. That's what it's all about.
People with caring confidence. People like Commercial Credit make a difference.
I really enjoy working with people. You'd be surprised, for example, how many people don't realize the equity that they have in their home that they could borrow against. I'm a homeowner myself, and I didn't realize it until I got into this business. That's the kind of thing I like telling people about. I like what I do. It's an honest company, and I'm proud to be a part of it.
People with care and confidence. People like Commercial Credit make a difference.
Homeowner loans not available in Texas, New Mexico, Michigan, and Ohio.
This is Rob Armstrong, CBS News. In the headlines, John Hinckley Jr., the man accused of trying to assassinate President Reagan, wrote that he was part of a conspiracy when he shot Mr. Reagan March 30th. The Justice Department says the FBI investigated Hinckley's claim and concluded it is without substance. Sources at the Justice Department say Hinckley may have been trying to do a little plea bargaining. General Robert Schweitzer, the top military member of the National Security Council, was fired today. He had given a speech saying the Soviets are planning a nuclear strike against the U.S. National Security Advisor Richard Allen said the speech was not cleared with him and does not reflect the president's thinking. And President Reagan departs tomorrow for the summit meeting of rich and poor nations in Cancun, Mexico. I'm Rob Armstrong, CBS News.
Our thanks to Rob Armstrong. Now here in the bottom of the third inning, Willie Randolph takes a pitch low, and the count now 2 balls and no strikes. Randolph followed by Jerry Mumphrey, and then Dave Winfield. 3-0 Yankees in the third. One of the great Yankees in all of their illustrious history in uniform tonight. The 2-0 pitch in there for a strike, and that would be Yankee coach Yogi Berra. He's appearing in his 21st World Series, 14 as a player, 2 as manager, and 5 as a coach. The 2-1 pitch is taken for a strike.
And he's special, Ben. You know, he belongs with the Yankees because, to me, he is part of the Yankees.
And his son is a good ball player with Pittsburgh.
Excellent baseball player.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Willie Randolph. Off-speed curve, a check swing ground ball to Garvey. He'll walk it over to the bag, 1 away. To give you an idea about Yogi Berra, he holds more World Series records than anyone else. He managed the Yankees in the '64 series, losing to the Cardinals. He managed the Mets, losing to the A's. He was a coach for the Mets in the '69 series, a coach for the Yankees in '76, '7, '8, and, of course, here in '81. And what a player. The all-time bad ball hitter, I guess, to come along.
Bad ball hitter, but I tell you what, I think he hit some good ones, too.
Oh, yeah. The pitch to Jerry Mumphrey, over for a strike, 0-1. It was Mumphrey who began Royce's problems in the first inning when he grounded a single through the hole into right field. Royce delivers low and inside. 1 ball and 1 strike.
He's their best base stealer, Minnie. Of all the guys on their club, he's the best base stealer they have.
And I remember him with St. Louis. He can run.
He can run. He knows what he's doing on the bases.
1-1 pitch to Jerry. Change, and that's foul back, and it was a high change. Mumphrey almost went up on his toes after it, and the count 1-2. Yankees 3, Dodgers nothing. 1 out, bottom of the 3rd. Game 1 of the 1981 World Series. Beautiful weather in New York. Started about 55 degrees. There's a drive into center, coming up Guerrero, but it's in front of him for a base hit. So Mumphrey, a line drive single to center. And that'll bring up Dave Winfield, who struck out in the 1st inning. So big Dave Winfield. And, of course, carrying the contract that he has, that has to put some pressure on you. And, of course, if he strikes out, why, the Wolves get all over him.
I'll tell you the one thing about him, though. He has done it all year. He came over here with all that money and with responsibility. But, Vinny, he has busted it every day for him. He really has.
1 out in the 3rd inning. Yankees 3, Dodgers nothing. Jerry Mumphrey at first, held on by Garvey. Lope shading up the middle. It also puts him in position to cover second if they try to play anything like hit and run with 1 out. Royce kicks, comes to the plate, and there's a high drive into left field. Baker going back to the track, and he will be at the wall to make the catch. Mumphrey went down to second, so he has to go back to first. Winfield just missed hitting it out.
Well, the difference in playing in Yankee Stadium for Dave is going to be, and he knows it, the difference, that ball's a home run in San Diego, that ball's a home run in Dodger Stadium, but that ball is not a home run in Yankee Stadium.
He really got a hold of that thing. Just a long out. We were talking when we first came on. Now, Tommy Lasorda is going out to talk to Larry Barnett and pointing to that area in left center. We referred to it as Heartbreak Alley. It's 4:30 out there. Lasorda is angry, whatever he is angry about, as he points in that area.
I think myself, Vinny, I think he's just angry. Somebody threw something down on him, and I don't blame him. And Tommy's doing just what he should do, get out there and get this thing straightened out.
And we get word now that it was a bottle that was thrown out of the stands here in Fun City.
Well, I don't blame Tommy. And Tommy, I know Tommy well enough. He ain't going to have somebody throw something at one of his players.
So with 2 out in the 3rd inning, 3-0 Yankees, here is Lou Piniella. Royce out of a stretch. You look over at first at Mumphrey, who goes. The pitch way inside. Gets away from Yeager, and Mumphrey steals second easily.
Well, in all fairness to Steve, though, Vinny, he wouldn't have got him had he caught that ball.
Royce does not have, let's say, nearly as good a move to first as Fernando Valenzuela.
No, Fernando uses that knee like McGregor. The knee will pass the rubber, but not the foot.
Bobo Castillo is throwing in the Dodger bullpen. He's the fellow who taught Valenzuela how to throw the screwball. And as Bobo says with a big grin on his face, I created a monster.
Well, yeah, but he might end up with a nice Rolls Royce or something.
Right. 1 ball and no strikes. Lou Piniella, who doubled to right field in the 1st inning. Jerry Royce, struggling here, has allowed 2 singles, a double, a home run, and the Yankees are leading 3-0. And Piniella trying to hammer another one across and pick up Mumphrey from second base. The pitch to Lou, right-hand batter is hit foul, breaking ball, and he dribbled it over to Joe Altobelli, who left-hands it back to the plate.
You know, Vinny, when that brings something up, when a guy throws something out of the stands or a person, you have to be an idiot to throw something at somebody.
You know, one of the scariest things I ever saw years ago in Old Sportsman's Park in St. Louis, Gil Hodges standing under a foul ball, waiting to catch it, and a gin bottle missed his head by an inch. And I happened to know it was a gin bottle because they're easily recognizable with the frosted glass. The 1-1 pitch is swung on and missed 1 and 2. It is a cheap shot as well as being an insane thing to do.
It's just crazy that somebody would do that.
Of course, here, you remember Tony Armas was hit by the ball. Some fan threw a ball at him, and I don't know. They're not going to be satisfied until they have a human sacrifice. 1 and 2, the count to Lou Piniella. Royce ready, delivers off speed, banged into left. Did he ever hang that one? And here comes Mumphrey to score easily. And Royce couldn't be less Royce if he pitched right-handed.
And Lewis, definitely a breaking ball. Tommy's out there in front now telling him to tag third. Tommy thinks that they missed third base.
Mumphrey stumbled as he was going to third base, and the Dodgers feel that he missed third, so Royce will get the ball, go up on top of the mound, then he will back off and throw over to Say, and we'll see whether Doug Harvey agrees that Mumphrey missed third base. Royce has the ball, left foot on the rubber. Now he'll get off the rubber after looking in for a sign. Now he does. Now he turns. Throws to say, and safe, says Doug Harvey, and the Dodgers go mad in the dugout. And now Harvey said, wait a minute. This is what he did, and he is in pantomime showing Danny Ozark and the Dodger bench just where Mumphrey hit the inside corner of the bag, and the Dodgers don't believe him. Meanwhile, Tommy Lasorda, who is angry over a 3-run home run by Watson, angry over a fan throwing a bottle at Dusty Baker, furious now over the fact that he felt Mumphrey missed third, and he's heading for the mound, and I think he's going to take Royce out because it just doesn't look like Royce.
Well, he's just up tonight. He's up with everything. He's going to bring him in. And the one thing, though, I'll say about Tommy, by going out in front of the dugout, asking that call at third base, Ben, by going out on the field and really pointing and making a tremendous gesture there, he at least gets that umpire thinking, by gosh, did he miss it?
Let me ask you something. When you umpired in the World Series, and Royce, who should certainly not hang his head because he's had a great year, but he's been pitching on 3 days rest, I think 4 times, and he just couldn't get the ball down. So Royce comes out. It is 4-0 Yankees in the third inning, and Bobo Castillo will be called in from the bullpen. Spark, when Mumphrey was making the turn, it looked like he actually used the bag to stay in the baseline.
That's what he did. He got the bag, but I tell you, from the dugout there sometimes, the way he stumbled a little, right away you think he missed it, and I don't blame the Dodgers, and I give Tommy credit. It's early in this ball game, and even if this ball game, and it's not a long way from over, Vinny, but he's going to establish one thing. He's going to make sure you touch bases. He's going to make sure that people ain't throwing nothing at his players, and that's the one thing that I always managed against Tommy, appreciate and respect about him. He's going to protect the Dodgers. I guarantee you that. There ain't going to be nobody bothering the Dodgers out here.
Well, friends, while Bobo Castillo is warming up, let's pause for this.
Wherever business or pleasure takes you, a touch of Hyatt translates far and wide. In 97 locations across the country and around the world, you're assured of the Hyatt standard of excellence. From the business capitals of New York, Tokyo, Brussels, and Chicago, to the beaches of Mexico and Hawaii, Hyatt offers unparalleled service the world over. For reservations, call your travel planner or 800-228-9000.
We're back here at Yankee Stadium. I'm Vin Scully, along with George Sparky-Anderson, the manager of the Detroit Tigers. It's been all Yankees so far. They're leading 4-0. Jerry Royce went 2 2/3 innings, allowing 4 runs and 5 hits. And, of course, Lou Piniella standing at first is also his responsibility. And Bobo Castillo will be coming in trying to restore some order. Castillo, smallish right-hander with a very good screwball. Castillo was in just 1 postseason game and worked only 1 inning, so he is certainly rested, to say the least. And Bobo tuning up. While he does, he was 2-4, and he had an ERA of over 5, so it was not a good year for him, but he did save 5. Sparky, I can remember years ago going into the World Series, Judge Landis and others would lay down the law about arguing with umpires. It seems like the last few years they have loosened up a little bit and more managers go out there and argue.
I think it should be that way. The umpires definitely, let's face it, they are excellent or they wouldn't be here. But they can handle themselves, and I think really the fan realizes how important this is, and it's important to both sides. So the arguments, as long as they're not filth out there, I think it's great.
Castillo out of a stretch and delivers to Bob Watson. Low, ball 1. Watson got one up and outside, and he drove it over the right center field fence in the first inning to put Royce and the Dodgers in a hole 3-0, and it's 4-0 Yankees now. Castillo, a backward glance at Lou Piniella, who goes, and he took all day to get rid of the ball. And Piniella steals second, and Bobo was somewhere else.
That's what I say about Piniella. They can talk all they want about guys. Lou Piniella's a big game player. Lou Piniella, if he only played 30 games a year for you, for 30 games, it would help you so much. He's a big game player.
So Piniella steals second on Bobo Castillo, who just suddenly got into an elaborate half windup, and there you couldn't have gotten Piniella with a net. The 2-0 pitch to Watson. Instead, Yeager asking for time because I'm sure he feels Castillo is rattled and he wants to talk to him and smooth his feathers a little bit.
Well, that's the thing. The Dodgers, people have to remember, just came out of a ball game yesterday where they had to win a 2-1 game against an excellent Montreal ball club. Had to come in here today, really no chance to really celebrate and play again, and I think Steve realized now they're starting to lose a little of their composure.
Outside of the celebration in the clubhouse, it was the quietest pennant-winning Dodger team I've ever seen. Castillo delivers, and it's low, ball 3. I think they were emotionally drained. However, I don't want to use that as any kind of an excuse. Instead, to point up the fact it all depends on how the World Series comes out. If the Dodgers win it, everybody will say, well, they came in here on the crest of enthusiasm, and the Yankees suffered from being lengthy laid off. The pitch is ball 4. But if the Yankees win it, they're going to say it the other way. Well, the Yankees were primed and ready, and the Dodgers were burned out emotionally.
It's always that way, you know, like you said. It just depends on which way it goes. Just like if you see a clubhouse that's having problems, they always say a club that's winning doesn't have no problems. That's just a little playfulness. If the club's been losing and they have it, dissension.
Yes, right. Here's Greg Nettles, 0 for 1. He hit a long fly ball to right field in the first inning. Left-hand hitter, hit .244, but he hit 15 home runs during the regular year. He figures to get screwballs, and the first one he fouls back to the screen, 0-1. For Lou Piniella, his first stolen base of the year, and I mean he picked the pockets of Babo Castillo. 2 singles, 2 stolen bases, and a walk here in the third inning, and the Yankees leading the Dodgers 4-0. Nettles waiting. Castillo with 2 out, set, and the strike 1 screwball is low, 1-1.
Vinny, with Nettles, the one thing about it, he's a strange left-handed power hitter in the sense he's not a low ball hitter. Most of your left-handed power hitters in Yankee Stadium would be low ball. He's a high ball hitter. And if you get up there with him, he'll show you why you shouldn't.
That's right. You could generally say all left-hand hitters like the ball low and right-hand hitters like the ball up. 1-1, the count to Greg Nettles. Castillo straightens up, set at the belt. A look at the runners. The right-hander comes back, 1-1, and miss low and inside, ball 2, and again, Yeager going out to talk to him. Here in the inning, Randolph grounded out, but Mumphrey singled to center and stole second. Winfield sent Dusty Baker to the warning track. That's when some lunatic threw a bottle at Dusty Baker, who fortunately was not distracted by the bottle and was not hit by it and caught the fly ball. But then Piniella singled home Mumphrey, and Watson was walked intentionally after Piniella stole second. Here's the 2-1 pitch to Nettles, and it's pop foul off to the left. Dangerous pitch there.
Yeah, you don't want to fool with him up there, because I tell you, Greg has hit those seats many, many times and has been on that ball up.
2-2 to Greg Nettles. Rick Cerrone on deck. When the Dodgers bat in the 4th, if you're not keeping score and you wonder, they have Bill Russell, Dusty Baker, and Steve Garvey.
Vinny, this is another big game player. Forget Nettles' stats. You know, people say, well, he hit 230, 240. I wouldn't care if Nettles hit 180. He's a big game player, and he'll get you big hits.
2-2 to Greg. Castillo, another look at the runners. The right-hander delivers, screwball foul back. To show you the kind of couple of weeks Nettles has had, in the Eastern Series, Division Series, he hit less than 100. But in the American League Championship Series, he was the MVP. He hit 500. He's pretty hard to figure out.
1 for 17 against Milwaukee.
Here's the 2-2 pitch on the way, and Greg takes inside, ball 3. So with a full count and 2 down, the runners will be going. Piniella from second and Watson from first. Full count, 2 out. On deck is catcher Rick Cerrone. So the runners taking their lead.
I don't know Castillo that well, but I suggest he don't throw him a fastball.
Here's a 3-2 pitch coming up. Runners go, screwball, fouled away. That's his bread and butter pitch, Spark. It's really his number 1 pitch. Down in the bullpen, Dave Goltz, who has not worked much at all. He's been almost a forgotten man with a record of 2-7. Goltz is loosening up. The Dodgers will no longer take this game seriously unless you see somebody like Steve Howe or Bob Welch. Then you know they think they have a shot at it. But right now, they're on the outside looking in. Runners ready to go. And the 3-2 pitch from Castillo. The right-hander ready, the runners go, and the screwball is lifted to right center field. It's playable. Monday indicates he'll take care of it and makes the catch for the out. 1 run, 2 hits, 2 left. And at the end of 3, the Yankees 4 and the Dodgers nothing.
The Buick Regal sedan, also known as Buick's Little Limousine. But why, sir?
Well, it's like a lot of limos I've ridden in. The room, the luxury. Plus, Regal's V6 engine offers an impressive 21 EPA estimated MPG. Use estimated MPG for comparisons. Actual mileage may be different. Estimates lower in California.
You really like this car, then?
Well, it does make my job a lot more pleasant.
Charles, bring the Regal round, please.
Very good, sir.
the Regal sedan.
Would you really rather have a Buick?
She and her trailer were headed west, trying to get her life in gear. He and his dreams were headed south, with his past in his rearview mirror. They fell in together, then they fell in love, then trouble started to crowd them. So many things happened around Weasel Creek, they made a movie about them. A few days at Weasel Creek on CBS TV.
That don't rhyme. That don't matter. Spend a few days at Weasel Creek Wednesday at 9, 8 Treasure and Mountain on CBS TV.
We're going to the fourth inning here at Yankee Stadium with the Yankees dominating 4 runs, 5 hits, no errors. And the Dodgers no runs, 1 hit, and no errors. It'll be Bill Russell, followed by Dusty Baker, and then Steve Garvey. I don't know whether it was a surprise or not, but certainly for the first couple of innings, it was not Jerry Royce, and that's the impression here tonight.
Well, I really think seeing Jerry pitch some of the playoff games on TV and that, Vinny, I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that Jerry Royce tonight showed a little bit of the tiredness of pitching every 3 days. And I'm not going to alibi for Jerry, and I know you wouldn't. No. But I think it's finally showed a little. I think getting him out of there early like Tommy did, he's going to get Jerry to be able to come back twice more now in the series. Next time out, you're going to see the real Royce.
Meanwhile, we are looking at the real Ron Guidry. He not only has throttled the Dodgers in 3 innings, he's allowed only 1 hit, and that was a line drive hit by Garvey off the glove of Greg Nettles. But at the same time, Nettles took an extra base hit away from Davy Lopes, opening up the ball game. Guidry has struck out 4, and he's been letter perfect in his control.
Letter perfect, and I think the one thing, the Lopes leading off the first inning and Nettles making that great play, that's a double down the line. He gets an out of it. The next shot was hit to shortstop Milburn. He makes a nice play. Then, it's a funny thing, Vinny, how that could have turned things around immediately in the first inning. It didn't work that way.
So now we'll see in the 4th inning with Bill Russell, Dusty Baker, and Steve Garvey. The Yankees afield with Bob Watson, Willie Randolph, Larry Milburn, and Greg Nettles. In the outfield, Dave Winfield in left, Jerry Mumphrey in center, and Lou Piniella in right. Rick Cerrone behind the plate, and left-hander Ron Guidry on the hill. Into the windup goes Guidry, and the pitch to Russell, low fastball, ball 1. 1-0. Guidry again into the windup. Back he comes, and Russell fouls it away. 1-1. Yankee Stadium in New York. The Dodgers and the Yankees. That brings back so many memories. Just going back to 1941. Of course, for me to say just going back to 1941 gives me pause to even think about that. Here's the 1-1 pitch on the way, and there's a ground ball wide at third. Nettles up with it easily, throws on the run to get him.
He's
One
not
away.
bad, Vinny, defensively. Nettles is all right.
The Dodgers are going to put him in the Hall of Fame after that 78 series anyway.
Greg makes it look so easy. You watch him during the season, and sometimes you wonder, it looks nonchalant. It's so easy for him.
Let me ask you something. As a visiting manager, is this a good infield? I don't mean the players. I mean the field.
No, I know what you mean, the field. Yeah, it's much better now. They've had it much slower than it is tonight, though. I noticed for the series a little faster. Normally during the season, it's very slow grass.
Dusty Baker hammers it into left field, and Guidry got a ball up, and so Dusty jumped on it.
It's funny. It's all coming back to me. I looked over my things, all the years I've worked with Ray Shore, and for 9 years, him giving reports on the Dodgers, and Baker, always a good inside hitter, and there that ball was, and bam, when he hit it, I said to myself, uh-oh, there it is,
Still the same.
They don't change. The good ones, they can overcome all the tough pitches, and yet they'll manage to hit their 300.
Steve Garvey in postseason play hit .341. That gives you an indication of what kind of a player he is for the Dodgers, and he has the only hit until Baker just singled. So Garvey at the plate, for the Yankees leading 4-0, top of the 4th inning. Guidry straightens up, looks over at Baker. Baker goes. They're playing hit and run, and Garvey takes a shot at right field and fouls it away upstairs. I think more than anything else, Lasorda is trying to make something happen.
I was just going to say, Vinny, you got to really give Tommy credit there. He's down 4-0. He's got Baker on first, but they've moved behind him. So he said, I'm going to show you. Don't be moving back behind my people. We're not done yet. We played in a pretty good league.
So they put hit and run on, and Garvey fouled it off. 0-1. Guidry ready. Back he comes in a low inside fastball. 1 ball and 1 strike. On deck, Ron Say. So Guidry waiting in the deep waters as far as the Dodger lineup is concerned. Another look over at Baker. Now the 1-1 pitch, and Garvey hits a high fly ball to straightaway center, and that's a graveyard here, and going back easily to handle it is Mumphrey, and back to first base goes Dusty Baker. Boy, you can break your heart hitting the ball to center and left center field at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, really, Winfield over the years is really going to hurt Dave, but he understands that, and that's why I think Winfield will do well here, because he understands he doesn't try to overly pull here. He tries to hit a lot of balls to right center.
With 2 out, Ron Say, the batter. Say popped up to Bob Watson in the second inning. He's 0 for 1. 4-0 Yankees in the fourth. Jerry Royce went 2 2/3 innings and gave up 4 runs, 5 hits. The left-handed Guidry delivers. Fastball hit inside out. A fly ball to right field. Moving over is Piniella. Waiting now, and Lou makes the catch for the out. No runs, 1 hit. The Dodgers leave Baker, and at the end of 3.5 innings, Yankees 4, Dodgers nothing.
This bud's for you. There's no one else who does it quite the way you do. So here's to you. You know it isn't only what you say, it's what you do. This bud's for you. This bud's for you. For all you do, the king of beers is coming through. For all you do.
This bud's for you. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis.
And a reminder, more NFL excitement for you this month. Cerrone, right-hand hitting catcher, takes high and inside, ball 1. Commissioner Bowie Kuhn in his box alongside the Yankee dugout, and it reminds us this is a memorable day. Mr. and Mrs. Bowie Kuhn celebrating their 25th wedding anniversary today. The pitch to Cerrone is high, ball 2. And to the commissioner and his bride, our heartiest congratulations. The first ball was thrown out tonight by a name that is synonymous with the Yankees, along with Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig, and that would be Joe DiMaggio. Great sight to see him out there. Here's the 2-0 pitch on the way to Rick Cerrone, inside, ball 3. When you go back over the years, just the Dodger-Yankee World Series, there have been so many incredible moments. I mean, how about 1941 and the Hugh Casey spitter that got away from Mickey Owens, and the Yankees went from the brink of defeat to win it. There's ball 4 to Cerrone. In seeing DiMaggio here, you might remember the great running catch made by Al Gianfrido, and maybe the only time in DiMaggio's career where he showed any anger at all. He kicked at the dirt at second base.
Yeah, the only time you ever seen, he was the gentleman of gentlemen.
Boy, is he smooth. Larry Milburn, hitting left-handed, hit back to the box in the second inning. And the pitch to him is fouled away, 0-1. And, of course, you can't forget Bill Bevins pitching the no-hitter in Ebbets Field. Cookie Lavagetto doubling off the wall to drive in not only the tying, but the winning run, because Bucky Harris violated an old baseball rule. He walked Pete Reiser, who represented the winning run. Eddie Mixes ran for him. Lavagetto doubled in everybody, and not only the no-hitter, the shutout, and they lost the game. Come back to Castillo. He goes to Russell, and he goes to Garvey. Not in time to double up Milburn, not when he's hitting left-handed.
Well, with 1 out and Guidry, who's not hit all year, I'm no question in my mind he's going to bunt him over, Ben. He has to.
So Guidry, who struck out in the second inning, will be asked to move his man up a notch, although they might even turn Milburn loose to see if they can get him to second before the bunt. We'll see. Larry Milburn held on by Garvey. Castillo a look, and Guidry bunts foul up along first base, and the count 0-1.
I want to see which way Guidry goes again. He went to first base, and again, when I was in the National League, we used to have a thing. We always wanted first base when we played the Dodgers. Steve does not like to throw, and for some reason, he'll come up and look, but he'll go to first. I just want to see if the Yankees are going that way again.
0-1 the count. Castillo ready, and the bunt is foul behind the plate. 0-2. In Garvey's defense, in the last 2 weeks, he has made 2 excellent throws to second base and gotten the runner. His problem is, it seems like the runner, even if he's a small man, must look like a mountain to him. He loses sight of second base. He's worried about hitting the runner, and he throws it offline all the time. But the last 2 times in this last 2 weeks, he made a good play.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. He's a good player. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. When we used to bunt, we used to always, our thing was to bunt first base.
0-2, the count to Ron Guidry. And he's going to bunt with 2 strikes, and he got it down. Castillo looks at second and throws to Lopes. So Guidry, who has not had a bat in his hand all year, and with 2 strikes, mind you, still sacrifices. Big play for Ron.
Well, I think, here's a man that hasn't swung the bat all year and everything, and Lem wants to get that guy to second. He figures this way, he's not going to get me a hit. He's going to strike out. Let's let him strike out bunting if he's going to.
So a runner at second base with 2 out, and Willie Randolph coming up. Randolph grounded to second, grounded to first. So each time against Jerry Royce, he went the other way. Now let's see what he does against the right-hander Castillo. Babo, as they call him with the Dodgers, the right-hander ready, delivers, breaking ball outside, ball 1. So he kind of loses his screwball a little against a right-hand hitter.
He's a high ball hitter, Randolph, and he's just a good player, Benny. His record this year, he hit the ball so well, and he only hit 230-something, but he had really tough luck. I know against us, and all year they tell me he hit so many balls at people.
Castillo on and off the rubber. Randolph backed out, and now they hook up again. Yankees 4, Dodgers nothing. Bottom of the 4th inning with 2 out. Castillo straightens up, set at the belt. Milburn runs well and a good lead at second. The pitch to Randolph too high. Ball 2, 2-0. Jerry Mumphrey on deck. 4 runs, 5 hits for the Yankees. They've left 2. No runs, 2 hits for the Dodgers. They've left 2. The Dodgers have not had a man get to second base. The Yankees off on the right foot on a 3-run first-inning home run by first baseman Bob Watson. Now the 2-0 pitch on the way. Castillo's breaking ball, a hard slider swung on and missed, and the count 2-1. Mumphrey tuning up on deck. I once asked the late Jim Gilliam about what's the toughest thing about being a switch hitter, and he said not getting hit by the pitch.
Yeah, I would have to think so.
Here's the 2-1 pitch to Willie Randolph. Castillo delivers, swung on late and fouled away. Upstairs off to the right of the plate, and the count 2-2. Yankees 4, Dodgers nothing in the 4th. Game 1 of the 1981 World Series. Tommy John and Bert Hooton tomorrow night. 8:10 p.m. Eastern Time on most of these same stations. Castillo thinking over his pitches. He hasn't tried to throw a screwball to Randolph, the right-hand batter. Bobo set, looks at second, 2-2 pitch is high, ball 3, 3-2. You can take all the numbers compiled in the whole year and throw them out the window in a World Series because that added ingredient changes everything. Not only it's 2 leagues, but pressure.
Don't mean a thing. The World Series is something totally different, and both of these clubs are very professional as far as longevity in the big leagues, too.
3-2 pitch coming up to Willie Randolph. Castillo delivers very high, ball 4. Now he'll get a left-hand hitter, and of course now he can go back to throwing his screwball. So really, I don't think he wanted too much of Willie Randolph.
Well, the only thing about Mumphrey, though, Mumphrey doesn't try to pull too much left-handed normally. He likes to serve the ball out to left. Here's the type of guy that should hit the screwball fairly good because he likes to serve the ball to left field a lot left-handed.
Mumphrey singled to right field against Jerry Royce and then singled to center against Royce. And he has scored twice. So Mumphrey off to a big start. Castillo with 2 on and 2 out. Delivers screwball outside. Ball 1, 1-0. If Castillo has a flaw, certainly it is the fact that I think he is extremely sensitive to pressure situations and then becomes very, very careful. He doesn't want to throw a strike. He wants to hit the black part of the plate. The 1-0 pitch on the way. Inside, and he's in a mess now.
I think the great pitching coach, Ron Peranowski, I love the way he used to do it. He said one thing you got to do is come in and throw a strike immediately, and let's go from there.
Well, Bobo can't do that. Not yet, anyway, in his development. 2-0, the count to Jerry Mumphrey. Castillo comes back to his hitter, and a screwball is outside, and he's a pitch away from loading him up.
He ought to talk to Raleigh Fingers, because Raleigh Fingers is another one. You love to talk to the great ones, and I think Fingers has been the greatest of all time as you look over at his career. And when you talk to him, Raleigh says one thing. You come in, You either do or you don't. Let's throw strikes and find out.
Yeah, Castillo is not the type of pitcher who will come in and challenge a hitter. Certainly not in a tough spot. So he's fallen behind. He's walked 2, and he is 3-0 to Mumphrey. Any chance of Mumphrey swinging 3-0?
I don't believe so. Now with Winfield coming up.
Castillo delivers high. He has walked the bases full. Knowing the boy and knowing how sensitive he is to pressure, I can imagine he's having a terrible time breathing here at Yankee Stadium, a full house, first game of the World Series.
Well, and Ronnie's going out there, Peronowski now, and you know he's not going out because Tommy'd go out if he wanted to take him out. But Tommy's, like you said, he's going to be the 4th hitter this coming inning, and he's got 2 outs. They want to get him through this, and just give me 1 more out, and we'll get you out of here next inning.
Boy, have you ever seen 100 million games go down the drain with that just get me 1 more out?
I've had that go down the drain many times.
So Dave Winfield, who struck out in the first inning, hit a long fly ball to left field that was caught by Duskabaker in the 3rd, and he comes up with a chance to tear it wide open. Bases loaded, 2 out in the 4th, 4-0 Yankees. And the big thing for me right now is the first pitch Castillo makes. He has got to throw a strike. He's got to challenge him.
He's got to throw a strike because if he gets behind him here, this guy will really set on him.
Castillo will work out of a windup as he looks into Yeager. Now ready. And the first one is low in the dirt. So he's in a lot of trouble. Milburn is at 3rd. Randolph is at 2nd. Mumphrey is at 1st. With 2 out in the 4th inning, and the Yankees leading the Dodgers 4-0.
You know, Benny, I think somebody ought to remind him that Joe DiMaggio's setting up in the seats right now. He can't hurt him.
That's right. 1-0 the count. Bobo again. Ready, and the 1-0 pitch is inside. Ball 2, and Castillo that time agonizing with a little body English, hoping to will the ball over the plate. That's not the way to pitch.
Throw it through there and tell me, hit it if you can, because I've got to get strikes.
Well, he has already put himself in a hole. 2-0 to Winfield. The big left fielder waiting, and the 2-0 pitch is low. They're going to have to come and get him in a moment. So Bobo Castillo walked Cerrone, got Milburn to hit into a force, got Guidry only because Guidry was sacrificing. Then he walked Randolph, then he walked Mumphrey. 3-0 to Winfield. They might let him swing 3-0, huh?
I don't believe so, Vinny.
So here's the pitch, and it's taken for a strike.
You throw him that many balls, you got to see if he can throw 1 more.
So Winfield now looking down to Aldabelli, maybe over pleading with Aldabelli. Let me swing. Castillo trying to find the elusive strike zone here in the 4th inning. And Winfield waiting, and the 3-1 pitch is way inside. He has walked in a run, 4 walks, and now he will take a walk.
I feel, you know, that I can really feel for Tommy here because, like I said, and you said earlier, that this is the 4th hitter in the 5th inning. Tommy's got 2 outs, got man on 2nd. That's no problem at all. He just give me 1 more out, and next inning we'll get you out of here with a pinch hitter, and he had to stay. There's nothing Tommy could do. His hands were just tied, but now he's got to untie him because he said, I can't have another base on balls.
And what a discouraging feeling from the kid from East Los Angeles with his head down walking off the field. He had a great opportunity to pitch in the World Series, and of course the weight on his shoulders. He walked 4, and out he goes. That's a tough thing to live with.
Tough with Vinny, but I tell you what, it's going to help him, you know, because he was in a World Series. Tommy did a great thing there. Royce had little problems early, so he got Castillo in there. Now this will do the best thing that's ever happened to this young man sometimes is to have a bad outing your first time and teach you a little good humility so that when you have a little success, you don't get carried away with it.
The Dodgers will be making a change, and while the new pitcher makes the long walk in from left center field, let's pause for this.
I'm Charles Osgood, CBS News, with some good morning listening habits for you Monday through Friday. On First Line Report, CBS News Washington correspondents report on capital concerns. Marshall Loeb helps you with your dollars. And on Newsbreak, I bring you a news item in a lively vein, pointing up the human interest factor. 3 good morning listening habits I think you'll like. First Line Report, your dollars, and Newsbreak on most of the CBS radio network stations. Hear 'em here.
In the bottom of the 4th inning, I'm Vin Scully along with George Sparky Anderson. The Yankees sitting on top of a 5-0 lead. They dispatched Jerry Royce in 2 2/3 innings for 4 runs and 5 hits. The key blow, a 3-run home run by Bob Watson in the first inning. Bobo Castillo couldn't find home plate in the 4th inning and walked 4. And now Dave Goltz is asked to come in and get Lou Piniella and get the Dodgers out of the inning before the ball game just flies away. And, of course, for the Dodgers, they now have to score 6 runs to get a lead, and that would seem to be like almost climbing Mount Everest for them because they just don't have that kind of an attack.
Well, that's a bad situation with Davis and Gotzi, but I'll tell you, it's been done. And even so, to me, I wouldn't get worried if I was a Dodger fan. They proved it when they were down 2-0 against Houston. They had to win 3. They were down 2-1 against Montreal. They came back. I think that the Dodgers maybe are saying to themselves, we got to prove it that it's got to be hard all the way to the end. It's going to be a great series. But the first game just kind of gets the thing off the ground.
Dave Goltz, coming out of the Dodger bullpen, had a poor year, a poor record, 2-7. Perhaps one of the reasons was his contract. I was talking before about some pressure on Winfield. And, of course, when Goltz came over to the Dodgers, signing a $1 million contract, immediately people expected wondrous things to happen, and it didn't happen. And then he began to press, and the next thing you know, we wound up 2-7.
Well, I think they do. They press, and you know, they're expected to win. And to tell you the truth, when they get that kind of money, they are supposed to win.
Well, that's right.
You know, if the pressure bothers them, why did we give them that money? I believe this. If they're getting paid, they're supposed to produce, and I think most of all the players feel that way. Down deep, I think all of them will tell you, when you get paid big money, we're supposed to produce.
Yeah, because otherwise you say, no, don't pay me that much.
Yeah, don't. I'll give something back. No.
So here's Lou Piniella with the bases loaded, 2 out in the 4th. And the Yankees leading 5-0. Winfield is at first. Mumphrey is at second, and Randolph is at third. And Piniella, all he has is a double and a single, stolen a base, and scored a run. And Dave Goltz will pitch out of a stretch with the bases loaded. When he came over to the National League, we were told that he was a sinker ball pitcher, and you expected to see a lot of ground balls, but that's not the way it's worked out.
He was not a sinker ball pitcher. If you looked, he always pitched up. When I went over there in '79 to American League, that's what my coaches told me. They said, he pitches up. He's a high ball pitcher.
Goltz out of a stretch, a check of the runners, and the pitch to Piniella golfed at and missed in the count 0-1. Bob Watson out on deck. When the Dodgers bat in the 5th inning, Pedro Guerrero, Rick Monday, and Steve Yeager. If the Dodgers are going to make any kind of a move at all, they're going to have to do it shortly, even though Guidry does not have a complete game. He started 21 games and failed to complete any, but more than anything else, it's a tribute to the Yankee bullpen.
He's got the 2 big horses down there just sitting there kind of relaxing right now.
0-1. The count to Lou Piniella, right-hand batter, and he hits a little pop fly, lopes out on the grass in right field, makes the catch for the out. So Piniella is jammed, pops it up. The Yankees get 1 run on 4 walks and leave 3. Well, it seems like the game has taken a long time up here. It must be an eternity in the Dodger dugout. And at the end of 4, Yankees 5, Dodgers nothing.
Where's the what?
The push buttons on his Delco car radio.
Sir, that's a Delco battery.
Battery?
Yes.
That's probably the reason I can't find a slot to put in this Linda Ronstadt tape.
Probably, yes. You've got 2 different divisions of General Motors confused, sir. The sound systems are made by Delco Electronics.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm the vice president of Delco Confusion here in the showroom.
I can't play this battery at all, then.
No. Where did you get it?
I pulled it out of that Z28.
I see.
One with the hood up.
Let's put it back.
Okay.
There we are. You didn't think under the hood was an odd place for a sound system?
Well, I figured maybe Delco would just piggyback their car radio right under their battery.
That wouldn't work.
Well, I'm not too electronically inclined.
Sir, see that radio in the Camaro? It says Delco GM.
Look at that. They put it right in the dash.
Yes, they were the first to do that. They also made the first car stereo. They're miles ahead in sound experience.
Well, you sold me. Could you let me hear some of that great Delco GM sound?
I'd love to, but unfortunately somebody's disconnected the battery.
We're going to the 5th inning here at Yankee Stadium with the Yankees leading the Dodgers 5-0. And left-hander Ron Guidry thoroughly stopping the Dodgers on 2 hits. The Dodgers have not had a man get to second base. Guidry has struck out 4. He has not walked a batter. And probably something that gave him a lift, if he needed a lift, was the very first play of the game. Davy Lopes led off, hit what looked like a double inside third, except the vacuum cleaner named Greg Nettles smothered it, got up and threw him out, and it's been all New York ever since.
At this point, you know, we're going to the fifth inning, Benny, and I would say this, that they're going to have to get some runs on the board between the fifth and sixth, because there's no question in my mind, if there's any problem at all, come the seventh, you'll see Big Davis come first, and then he'll go out and throw hard for a little bit, and then they'll bring that other big guy, Gossage, and he just throws bullets, you know. So you've got to get him in the fifth or sixth, or you're in trouble.
Well, the Dodgers are in trouble here in the fifth inning, and Pedro Guerrero will start it off. Guerrero struck out in the second inning, so Pedro having the postseason blues. He had a tough time against Houston, a dreadful time against Montreal, and then he strikes out in his first World Series at bat. The kid from the Dominican Republic who was saying just the other day on the bus, never in my life would I even allow myself, as a little barefooted kid in the Dominican, to think about playing in the World Series. And now here I am in the World Series in Yankee Stadium against the New York Yankees, as he says. You can understand how these kids must feel.
That's what's so great about our game of baseball.
So Guerrero, right-hand hitter, playing center field, and Pete takes a strike, and the count 0-1.
No, in our game, Benny, nobody cares where you came from, who you are, what's your family, what's your religion, what's anything. All they care is, can you play that little round ball?
Well, Guerrero wound up the season hitting .300, and the count 0-1 to Pedro. On deck, Rick Monday, and then Steve Yeager. Guidry sitting up on top of a 5-0 lead in the fifth inning. Ron into the windup. The left-hander ready. Back he comes, and there's a high fly ball to dead center. Back on his horse goes Mumphrey, turns and makes the catch. And he was on the grass. In other words, he never even got to the warning track. So it was just a, quote, long fly ball.
That's a long fly ball in any ballpark, but that ball was up, and it's what everybody tells me, and what, you know, I took a couple notes from Ray Shore, who follows him. He said he really likes that fastball up and over the plate, and he sure does.
Guidry now has given up 3 fly balls to Garvey and Say to end the fourth, and Guerrero here in the fifth. Do you think maybe he's getting a little ho-hum or a little, go ahead, let me see your best shot?
I think right now he's going to challenge them. He's going to make them show that they can get something started. He's just not going to stand out there and work himself to death.
So Monday, who struck out in the second inning, coming up. Guidry, both feet on the rubber. Now Ron into the windup. The left-hander to the plate, and the fastball is outside. Ball 1-0. Steve Yeager on deck, and no doubt Lasorda thinking hitter, because he has right-hander Tom Niedenfuer throwing in the bullpen. Niedenfuer's a big kid who throws hard, Sparky.
He throws good. I've watched him on TV twice, and he throws the ball extremely well. So does that Pena.
1 ball and no strikes to Rick Monday. Guidry into the windup, and back he comes, and it's fouled away. 1-1. The thing about Tom Niedenfuer, this is his first year in professional ball, and he's going to pitch in the World Series. That's like having a hole-in-one in your first round of golf.
Well, all I can say is this. Here the Dodgers are in the World Series, and they talk about Marshall, and they talk about Sachs, and they talk about Niedenfuer and Pena. I said, my Lord, how can you be in the World Series and you got young kids, too?
1-1, and the pitch to Monday. On the hands, whacked in second base. Short hop, backhanded by Randolph, who gets him. Hello.
He can play. I'm going to tell you now, they talk all they want, but we have some pretty good second basemen over in the American League. Randolph, the young kid at Detroit, and I won't push them because I manage there.
And a fellow named Frank White.
A man named Frank White, Lou Whitaker at Detroit, and a boy named Cruz out in Seattle. They can pick that ball.
Willie Randolph, backhanding and short-hopping a bullet up the middle to throw out Monday. With 2 down, the batter is Steve Yeager, and on deck is young Steve Sachs. And the pitch to Yeager is a high fly ball to right field. Pinella going back. The ball is carrying. He's to the wall. It's gone. A wrong field home run for Steve Yeager.
It's that old fastball to Stevie up, and he can hit it.
And I have to believe that Guidry is doing just that now. And looking at the scorebook, he had 3 consecutive fly balls. He got a ball up to Monday. Now he throws the home run to Yeager. It's almost as if to say, I'm not going to nibble. I'm not going to throw sliders down and in the dirt. I'm going to give you one and let me see your best shot.
He's going to say, you prove that you can hit it.
Well, here's another kid fulfilling a dream. Steve Sachs, a youngster who started the year at San Antonio. And here he is playing in the big leagues.
I've heard so many good things about this young man, and when, you know, like I say, when you get in the World Series and then you still have people like this that are young babies, things look real good.
Do you remember Bobby Valentine, the kid who played with the Dodgers and then went over to the American League?
Seen Bobby today, and he looks like he's ready to play right now.
This kid has the same quickness of Valentine. And he hits a high fly ball to center. And again, Guidry is saying, here, let me see your best bolt. And, of course, it's just a fly ball. So the Dodgers get a run on the home run to right field by Yeager. And at the end of 4.5, Yankees 5, Dodgers 1.
A portable radio or camera can add to the fun of a sports event or fall outing. But it's no fun discovering you forgot to bring fresh batteries. Hi, Pat Summerall to remind you to check your battery supply now. And visit a True Value hardware store for Rayovac heavy-duty supercells. These long-lasting batteries are available in popular sizes to power everything from small calculators to big tape recorders. True Value hardware stores offer AA, C, D, and 9-volt batteries for toys, electronic games, flashlights, and more. Rayovac heavy-duty supercells are made for extra long life, so you'll need fewer replacements. You'll enjoy fall activities even more when you have a camera or radio along. But first, remember to get Rayovac heavy-duty supercells from participating True Value hardware stores and home centers. And get the current edition of my 4-part, full-color, all-time great Sports Stars collection free with any $10 or more purchase while supplies last at participating True Value hardware stores and home centers, where you'll find values in every department.
As we go to the bottom of the 5th inning, the Yankees 5 runs, 5 hits, and no errors. And the Dodgers 1 run, 3 hits, and no errors. Tom Niedenfuer, big right-hander, his first year in professional ball. He had a good year in San Antonio. The Dodgers called him up. They used him sparingly, and he throws hard, and they think he really has a future. And here he is. That's really something. 1 year in pro ball, and you're pitching in Yankee Stadium in the World Series.
And I seen him today in the restaurant, and I'll tell you one thing. He didn't act like this was all bothering him. He was awed by anything, so they've got a good one. There's no question, Benny. You know it with Sachs and Niedenfuer and Pena and
Let me ask you this, Sparky. I wonder if you've noticed it. Do you find that the really young players coming up today are in less awe of the big leagues than in the old days?
Yeah, and I think Rick Mundy said it the other day. They're not only in less awe, they're so much stronger and further ahead. And I think it's our great training. We start out now in our little leagues. I think in the high schools, in the colleges, the training is so outstanding, Benny, that by the time they get into pro ball, really, they understand. So many people have talked to them and explained to them that it isn't that big of a deal.
Let's pause 5 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the CBS Radio Network.
This is WBBM Chicago.
Five to 1 Yankees, bottom of the 5th inning. Tom Niedenfuer will be pitching to Bob Watson, Greg Nettles, and Rick Cerrone. I wish I had a recording of Fernando Valenzuela pronouncing the name Niedenfuer. Oh, it's a beauty. So Niedenfuer ready. And Bob Watson, who was certainly ready in the first inning, hit a 3-run home run over the right center field wall against Jerry Royce. And it's been a walk in the park so far for the Yankees ever since. Watson walked in the 3rd.
Benny, can I say one thing? I wouldn't care how Fernando pronounced anybody the way he pitches.
You know, it's what Lasorda said. Somebody said, gee, he looks old. Lasorda said he looks like Robert Redford to me.
Yeah.
The pitch to Bob Watson on the corner for a strike, 0-1. Tom Niedenfuer comes in and throws a strike. Big kid ready, and back he comes, and he's in the dirt. 1-1. Watson was saying opening day he did something he never does. He wore a new pair of spikes, and it was a rainy day, and he started to swing, and his spikes caught. He punches one just by Lopes into right field. So Niedenfuer going hard but away, and Watson just went with it, and he's 2 for 2. Anyway, his spikes caught, and he really ripped the muscle right off the bone high up in the hip. And then to make matters worse, he topped the ball up along 3rd and ran as hard as he could to 1st. And he said, when I got to 1st, it was on fire, but I thought, oh, well, it's early in the year, and I'm just a little tender. He couldn't get out of bed the next morning.
Now, that, to be honest, and I'm sorry he got hurt, but we did miss him the first series. It didn't help us any, but at least we didn't have to see his back.
Greg Nettles twice flied to right field. And Greg up there now, they're telling Garvey, don't hold Watson. Now, that's an automatic baseball thing that players do. They just do it instinctively, and there's no reason for him to be on the bag. And the Dodgers say, get off. You're not expecting Watson to run. Nettles up there, and he hits a towering fly ball to right field. Back to the track goes Monday, but he'll handle it as he comes back into the grass. They've got Nettles 3 times now on high fly balls to right field. One away.
Got him 3 times on high flies, but he's missed 3 balls up. And if they continue to pitch him up, he's going to hurt somebody in this series.
So Nettles going out after it and uppercutting that pitch up around the letters. Yeah, that seemed to be, what is it they say, in his kitchen?
Yeah, you fool with him up there, and Greg will teach you very quick in this league over here. I've seen him enough. He'll teach you why you shouldn't.
Rick Cerrone, the catcher, coming up, grounded to short and walk. He's 0 for 1. And, of course, for the Yankees, they have to be feeling very happy about several things. Not only are they leading 5-1, but they're not playing their usual game, the pitch to strike. First of all, no DH. Reggie Jackson couldn't play, and here they are breezing.
Well, they're breezing, but let me say this again. After seeing the Dodgers come back against Houston and after seeing them come back against Montreal, if I was sitting in the other dugout, and I sure Lem feels that way, they're not going to count nothing until it's over.
Oh, no, I'm sure. The strike one pitch on the way is swung on, fisted in the air, back a shortstop. Bill Russell angles out on the grass, looks up into that New York night, and makes the catch for the out. So 2 down, with Bob Watson standing at first, and Larry Milburn, the shortstop, coming up. Milburn, a switch hitter, hit back to the box and hit into a force play. 0 for 2, hitting left-handed, and it looks like a tennis ball or something came out on the field, so timeout is retrieved in the area behind home plate. When the Dodgers bat in the 6th inning, it'll be the top of the order. Davy Lopes, Bill Russell, and then Dusty Baker. Niedenfuer out of a stretch, set at the belt, and Tom delivers, and has a ground ball to third, Say on his right knee to make sure it doesn't go through, and then he fires to Lopes with a force on Watson. So no runs, just a base hit, and a man left. At the end of 5, the Yankees 5, Dodgers 1.
There's no disguising the fact that some economy cars are just that, economical.
Hey, come on. It gets great gas mileage.
I'll bet it does.
The Buick Skylark is one economy car that doesn't look like one. With its roomy interior and stylish exterior, it's hard to believe it offers 26 EPA estimated MPG. Use estimated MPG for comparisons. Actual mileage may be different. See Skylark at your Buick dealers today.
Would you really rather have a Buick?
Why do so many people come to State Farm and stay with State Farm year after year? They found a good price. They like the personal one-to-one service. And they want the convenience of having all their family insurance, life, health, home, and car with one State Farm agent. For a good price and great service on all your family insurance, see the State Farm agent nearest you.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Say, friends, don't miss out on the fun and excitement of baseball next year. Now's the time to do something about it. Now's the time to make sure you and the members of your family don't miss out on next year's exciting games. Call your favorite team. Ask about 1982 season tickets. I'm sure they'll have a ticket plan to fit your needs, and it's a great way to entertain your family and business associates. Do it now. Join the millions of fans every year who enjoy Major League Baseball at the ballpark. Baseball fever. Catch it now for 1982. It'll be worth it. The preceding has been brought to you on behalf of Major League Baseball. To the 6th inning, 5 runs, 6 hits, and no errors for the Yankees. 1 run, 3 hits, and no errors for the Dodgers. Ron Guidry in the first 3 innings really pitching his typical crafty game. He had struck out 4 and allowed 1 hit. The last 2 innings, leading comfortably 5-0, it seemed as if he was challenging the Dodger hitters to do their best. He wasn't bouncing the slider. He wasn't keeping the ball down. And he gave up fly ball outs to Garvey, Say, and Guerrero. Monday lost a hit on Randolph's play, and then Yeager hit a home run. And here's Lopes now, and swings at the first pitch and doesn't get it. The Dodger hitters in the last 9 have been going up there hungry. First ball hitting.
Yeah, they're trying to jump on Guidry. He's just trying to get ahead of them, and they know it.
The pitch outside, 1 ball and 1 strike to Lopes. Lost an extra base hit on a marvelous play by Greg Nettles, and then last time up grounded to short. Guidry into the windup, and the 1-1 pitch is a bouncer up the middle, but behind second is Randolph. Backhands, throws him out. So Lopes out on a good play by Randolph, and that'll bring up Bill Russell. Russell grounded to short, grounded to third. He's 0 for 2. Guidry, as we mentioned earlier, 21 starts, no complete games. 1, feet together on the rubber, looks down to Cerrone to get a sign, and Russell waiting. Left-hander ready and delivers, and the first pitch is lifted to right field, coming over is Piniella near the line and makes the catch. So actually, the last 11 hitters, 7 of them have gone after the first pitch. They don't all make contact, but they've been swinging.
Yeah, they figure, which is right, that he's just going to jump out there and say, hit me if you can, until he gets in any trouble. And so they're trying to attack that fastball.
Dusty Baker coming up. He popped up and singled. If you join us late, in the first inning, Mumphrey singled and Piniella doubled him to third, and with 2 out, Bob Watson hit a home run over the right center field fence. Then in the third inning, Mumphrey singled and stole second, and Piniella singled him home. And in the fourth inning, Bobo Castillo walked 4 batters to force over a run. Yeager homered for the Dodgers in the 5th, and that's the story. 5-1 New York. Baker looks at a pitch inside. Ball 1. Dusty singled to left. Garvey singled off Nettles' glove, and Yeager's home run. That accounts for the Dodger offense thus far. Guidry back 1-0, and a fastball very high and outside. Ball 2. I bet he doesn't throw a ball up there most of the year when he's in a ball game where he feels he has to battle.
Not very often. He don't get up there. I'll tell you what, though, Benny, he's throwing his fastball a little harder tonight than he normally does because he goes with so much break and stuff during the season normally.
The 2-0 pitch on the way is low. Ball 3. 3-0. Guidry, by the way, has not walked a batter. And this is certainly his first 3-0 count. So Baker waiting, Guidry into the windup. Now the 3-0 pitch in there, inside corner at the knees, 3-1. Baker, a quick look at Ozark. And Lasorda talking to Garvey in the near corner of the dugout, and there's ball 4 to Baker. Now let's see what the Dodgers do. If you remember, in the 4th inning, Baker had singled, and the Dodgers put the hit-and-run play on the first pitch. Garvey fouled it off. Then he eventually flied to center. Guidry, a very tough control pitcher in the American League. In fact, he averaged less than 2 walks for 9 innings, and I think he was like number 5 in the league.
Yeah, he's got very good control. And, you know, right now, I think there was a question there where he just missing a little bit. He missed once high real bad, but other than that, he just off the road.
Here's Garvey, singled and fly to center. Guidry ready, delivers. First ball swung on and foul back, 0-1. I remember there was a great line many years ago talking about a fellow who was very stingy, who wouldn't give up any money. They said he'd give up a buck as easy as a tattoo. Well, that's about the way Guidry is with a walk.
Yeah, he's a little tough.
0-1 the count, and Garvey swings again, 0-2. So apparently Lasorda's saying, go up there and swing. Never mind. We're down by 4. Make something happen. And Guidry's trying to make it happen his way, and the count 0-2. Baker standing at first. Bob Watson back of him. No balls and 2 strikes. We'll see if he goes in the dirt now. Guidry delivers in the dirt. That's a pitch that Garvey will chase.
He really tries to go there. Once he gets you 2 strikes, he wants you to chase that ball and try to break it right down and in the dirt.
So Garvey back up to the plate. 1-2 the count. Ron Say on deck. Guidry leaning on his right knee, looks over at Baker. Now comes back. Fastball got him swinging up and away.
It's as good a fastball as I've seen him throwing, Benny.
So Garvey strikes out. That's 5 strikeouts for Ron Guidry. The Dodgers leave Baker, and at the end of 5.5 innings, the Yankees 5 and the Dodgers 1.
Play an hour of tennis against a practice wall, and you'll see what kind of shape you're really in. I do okay, and I can still go 3 sets in 90-degree weather. But you know, you can be in great shape and not have the same build you had as a kid. It's not just diet either. It's time and nature changing your proportions. That's why the Levi's jeans that used to be so darn comfortable might not fit the same anymore. I'll tell you what you do, though. Try Levi's for Men. Levi's for Men are jeans that are cut to fit a man's build, with a skosh more room in the seat and thigh. And if you want even more comfort, Levi's for Men has these new invisible stretch jeans, with extra give woven right into the fabric, plus the comfort of a stretch waistband. So if you want to get back to the fit and comfort of Levi's jeans, try the kind with invisible stretch from Levi's for Men. Every pair they serve up is a solid ace.
A lot of people are drinking V8 juice these days. What about you?
I drink it when I get up in the morning.
How come you drink V8 in the morning?
If I get up at 5:30 and you need something that's gonna... Hello, how are you? This is today, and you have to go to work, so you better wake up. It's a great taste, and it's good.
Well, it's very refreshing for breakfast.
The flavor of V8 juice is one of those kind of things that when you wake up in the morning, you know it's going to be a good day. I feel like I'm doing something healthy for myself.
That's why so many people are saying,
Wow, I'm going to have a V8.
Bottom of the sixth inning from Yankee Stadium in New York. I'm Vin Scully, along with George Sparky-Anderson, the manager of the Detroit Tigers. Pull up a chair and spend part of Game 1 of the 1981 World Series with us. Ron Guidry struck out in sacrifice, starting it off, and Tom Niedenfuhr checking with Steve Yeager. The right-handed delivers, and it swung on and missed, 0-1. Guidry laid down a bunt in the fourth inning, and eventually the Yankees scored on 4 walks. Now the strike one pitch on the way, and Guidry lines it to left center. Guerrero had a good jump and makes the catch for the out. The last base hit by a pitcher, you want to talk about trivia? The last base hit by a pitcher in a World Series, Tim Stoddard, in Game 4 of the 1979 series, Boston against Pittsburgh. Stoddard got a base hit and drove in a run against Kent DeCovey.
It's a pretty good pitcher, too.
I should say. I said Boston, I meant Baltimore. So Tim Stoddard, last time. In case you wondered, and here is Willie Randolph, and he takes a breaking ball low, ball 1-0. Randolph has grounded out twice and walked. And he has made a couple of good plays, one dazzling on Rick Monday in the fifth inning. Niedenfuhr delivers, swung on and missed. Randolph staggering out in front of the plate. In the Yankee bullpen, Frazier and LaRoche. Maybe just getting in some work. Then again, who knows?
They're just getting in work, Benny, because in the seventh, there's only one man, Davis, and then after that, it'll be Gossage.
The 1-1 pitch is on the inside corner. Good pitch by Niedenfuhr, and the count 1-2. The Yankees scored 3 in the first, 1 in the third, and 1 in the fourth. The Dodger run came in the fifth. There have been 2 home runs. Bob Watson took 2 aboard in the first inning. Yeager with nobody on in the fifth for Los Angeles. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Willie Randolph. Belted to left field. Back goes Baker. He has this one in his sights, however, and makes the catch on the track almost 380 feet away.
Yeah, you wouldn't catch that one in Dodger Stadium.
Unless you went to Pasadena.
Yeah.
2 down in the sixth, and Jerry Mumphrey coming up.
I can see why Al Campanis and Tom Lasorda, though, really like this young man, Benny. He's not afraid to throw strikes, and he comes right after him. He got a great arm.
That's right, Sparky. That's the way he was when he first... Well, it's his first year. He pitched at San Antonio, came up to the Dodgers. He and Alejandro Pena are the 2 kids who really have them thinking about the prospects of next year in the future. They might, as far as the Dodgers are concerned, be someday compared to Gossage and Davis. Maybe not quite, but the idea is there. The pitch at the plate is lifted to left field. Baker will handle this one easily, so Jerry Mumphrey will go down. And the Yankees go out in order 1-2-3 for only the second time tonight. And at the end of 6, Yankees 5, Dodgers 1.
A lot of good people work for commercial credit. That's what makes commercial credit work.
Commercial credit is a large company with a lot of money, but we have a lot more to give than money, such as personal concern and consideration for the individual needs of the customer. If it weren't that way, I probably would be working for another company.
People with care and confidence. People at commercial credit make the difference.
Let's say the person is a homeowner. There is this equity that they have available to them. If you have equity in your home, you have financial strength. I counsel them in ways that they may use that equity. But as I said before, there's more to it than just money. It's a concern, a personal involvement, not just name, number, and in and out the door.
People with care and confidence. People at commercial credit make the difference.
Homeowner loans not available in Texas, New Mexico, Michigan, and Ohio.
Say, here's a good way to start your weekday mornings. Check the sports scene with Win Elliott, Jim Kelly, and the Sports World Roundup. It's our earliest network sports broadcast, and both Win and Jim bring you wrap-ups and a rundown on what's to come. So listen here tomorrow morning and every morning on most of the CBS radio network stations. New York, New York. You hear that a couple of times when you come to the big city. And in the 7th inning, with 5-1 Yankees, the Dodgers will have Ron Cey, Pedro Guerrero, and then Rick Monday. An outstanding job for Ron Guidry for 6 innings. The Dodgers scratching for only 1 run, the wrong field home run to right field by Steve Yeager. So Cey will start it. He popped up to Bob Watson and flied to right to Lou Piniella. A reminder tomorrow, Tommy John and Bird Hooten. Yankee Stadium, 8:10 p.m. Eastern Time. Talking about Pena, he's loosening up down in the Dodger bullpen. He's had a bad cold the last few days. You might understand that if you were in Montreal with us.
Especially when you're a Latin.
Yes,
being in Montreal.
So Ron Cey, Pedro Guerrero, and Rick Monday. Guidry looks in to get a sign. He has walked 1, allowing 3 hits and a run, and Cey, first ball swinging, and the count 0-1. Are the Dodgers really doing him a favor, first ball swinging?
I think they have swung some pitches out of the strike zone and flied out to center field on them, about 5 of them, and I think that they got to make him throw strikes and make him split the middle with it right here.
The strike 1 pitch on the way, off speed, outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Looked like he turned it over. 1-1 to the Penguin, as they call him, Ron Cey. And the 1-1 pitch, Guidry's fastball picks up the inside corner. Good pitch. Cey kind of leaning, maybe looking for something away, and then he pulled away, and it was still plenty much on the corner. Guidry into the windup, and the 1-2 pitch is a half swing on a pitch low. No swing, says Nick Pelosi, and the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. You know, that's a recent development. Plate umpires looking to first and third to get help on half swings.
Well, there's been so much complaining over the last couple of years on it that I don't blame them. They're going to get themselves right off the hook immediately. They'll look right down. You take it.
You know, and looking at Larry Barnett, you'd think he was a National League umpire working off the shoulder of the catcher.
Larry works exactly the way they do in the National League. He's an excellent umpire, period.
Here's the 2-2 pitch to Ron Cey. Straightens him up. Ball 3. In fact, is there much of a difference now, or are the American League umpires umpiring the same style as the National?
You know, I heard all that high ball, low. That's a lot of baloney. They umpire, you have good, bad, and indifferent, and they're the same in both leagues.
3-2, and Cey hits a line drive down the left field line for a base hit. Over to get it is Dave Winfield. Cey's going to go for 2, trailing by 4 runs. He's out. What kind of a play was that?
You're losing 5-1, Vinny, and you're in the 7th inning. Whatever happens, you cannot make an out on a base running error. That's the one thing you absolutely must not do. I give Winfield credit. Great play by Winfield. But never can you say that was a great play by him. You can't be thrown out.
And, you know, if you're Davey Lopes, you say, well, he runs well and he's a great slider. But Ron Cey is Ron Cey.
You just can't be doubled up. Really, it wouldn't matter who it was. I give Winfield credit that he made a great play, but still, you can never be doubled.
So Ron Cey makes a bad play, and you have a base hit and an out. And the batter is Pedro Guerrero. Struck out and flied to center, 0 for 2. Guidry into the windup, delivers, and the pitch low and inside, ball 1, 1-0. A lot of breeze picking up now. You see folks putting on their coats, so the temperature's dropping a bit. Guerrero fouls it back, and the count 1-1. 5 runs on a half a dozen hits for the Yankees. 1 run, 4 hits for the Dodgers. Rick Monday on deck. Dodgers have had only 1 man get to second, and that was Yeager, who touched them all when he hit his home run to right field. Pitch to Guerrero high, ball 2, 2-1. Perfect throw from Dave Winfield to second baseman Willie Randolph. Now the 2-1 pitch on the way, and Guerrero takes high, ball 3, and now the Yankees get down to work in the bullpen. Frazier and LaRoche sit down, and Ron Davis loosens up.
They sit down, Benny, the big boy takes over.
Here's a 3-1 pitch to Guerrero, very high, ball 4. So you can see now that Cey's mistake could become a monumental mistake, because you're in the ball game with Monday coming up and 2 men on, but you're still pretty far out of it, 5-1 with 1 out in the 7th inning.
Well, the difference there, Vinny, is that now you got first and second now, no matter what. The double don't help you any for one reason. 5-2, do you want to lose, or 5-1?
And that's an awfully high price to pay, an out this late in the game. So here's Monday, struck out, and then Randolph took a base hit away from him in the 5th inning. And on deck, Steve Yeager. Guerrero at first, Watson behind the bag, and the pitch to Monday, taken for a strike, 0-1. Yankees 5, Dodgers 1. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning, 1 away. The outfield pinching the middle. As Sparky mentioned at the start of the game, the Yankees give you the lines. Monday backs out for the moment. Guidry leaning on his right knee, reading signs, flashed out by Rick Cerrone. The left-hander ready, and the strike one pitch way out in front of it is Monday, and the count 0-2. Not only was he out in front of it, was a good location, the outside part away from him.
He's starting to open up a little bit now. He's really grinding it with Monday.
No balls and 2 strikes to Rick Monday. Monday, of course, played in the American League, came off the campus of Arizona State to play with Oakland. 0-2. Guidry delivers outside. Ball 1, 1-2. Guidry has walked 2. He walked Baker with 2 out in the 6th, and he walked Guerrero with 1 out here in the 7th. He's been right around the plate when he has to be. 1-2 to Monday. Guidry at the belt. The left-hander deals. Waved at and missed.
It's not fair, Vinny, that they're allowed to throw a left-hander that kind of hard slider. Boy, that isn't Rick. I'll tell you one thing. That gets a whole bunch of them, about 99.9.
So that would be 6 strikeouts for Ron Guidry. His high was 9 this year. He struck out 9 Minnesota Twins. And here is Yeager, struck out in the 3rd, and then poked a home run to right. And he's after the breaking ball and doesn't get it. So now he's not going to get that. Here, let me see your best shot.
No,
suddenly the slider has made its appearance again.
I think Steve will see a few sliders now.
0-1, the count to Yeager. Guidry set, eyeballing Guerrero. Back with a breaking ball that's hit down the left field line. Foul. And Yeager that time jumped on the slider and pulled it too much.
She was hung up there a little bit, and it didn't get down where he wanted it.
Oh, they call it a backup slider?
Yeah, this one here, though, my bet would be either it would be a high fastball totally out of zone or that deep cutting like Charlie Dresden used to say right down in the dirt.
Reggie Smith comes out on deck to bat for Tom Niedenfuer if Yeager can extend the inning. And, of course, that magnifies Say's mistake. 0-2, the count to Yeager. Guidry out of a stretch, and the strike 2 pitch. Slider hit foul up along 3rd. No balls and 2 strikes. Guidry with a half a dozen strikeouts. Pedro Guerrero standing at first. Here in the inning, Say hit a shot down in the left field corner. But with the Dodgers trailing by 4, he gambled and tried to go to second, and Winfield threw him out. Guerrero walked. Monday struck out, and the pitch is high. Turned that over.
I noticed Guerrero does something I think is very good for young players. He carries his hitting gloves in both hands, so he doesn't jam his fingers when he slides.
Can I tell you something? He's the worst slider I've ever seen. Oh, he's dreadful. Really?
That's why he does it.
Yes. The 1-2 pitch. Yeager swings and lifts a fly ball to right field. Pinella coming in and over, and Lou makes the catch. I'll tell you more about Guerrero and his sliding in a minute. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. And at the end of 6.5 innings, Yankees 5, Dodgers 1.
If we were to tell you all the things you get when you buy a Buick Riviera, you might find it a little hard to believe.
An all-expense-paid vacation?
Not quite.
Well, then what?
Well, how about power windows, power seats, electric door locks, air conditioning, cruise control, automatic transmission with overdrive?
All that on one car?
Uh-huh, and more.
I couldn't be more impressed.
Bet you could. See the Riviera. It's unbelievable.
Wouldn't you really rather have a Buick?
This is Rob Armstrong, CBS News. In the headlines, House and Senate Republican leaders met today and failed to reach agreement on how to tackle the president's next round of proposed budget cuts. Earlier, top administration officials agreed the economy is in a recession and that unemployment will rise in the short term. But Murray Wiedenbaum, the chairman of the President's Council of Economic Advisers, said he believes the economy will turn itself around in early 1982. Interest rates on passbook savings accounts, which were slated to go up 0.5% November 1st, will not. The agency that regulates such interest has postponed the increase indefinitely. And John Hinckley Jr., the man accused of trying to kill President Reagan, wrote that he was part of a conspiracy. The FBI says no conspiracy existed. Rob Armstrong, CBS News.
Thank you, Rob Armstrong. As we go to the bottom of the 7th inning here at Yankee Stadium, the Yankees leading the Dodgers 5-1. For the Yankees, it'll be Dave Winfield who made that fine throw to get Ron Cey, then Lou Piniella and Bob Watson. You know, Sparky, getting back to Guerrero, he is a very bad slider. In fact, he doesn't slide. He's tried to, and he can't do it. So he goes in head first all the time, and he's the only man I've ever seen try to break up a double play going in head first.
He's got to have a strong coconut.
He's got a strong coconut, but he's hurt his shoulder, and he's wrecking himself.
Yeah, he's going to kill himself.
I mean, they're going to have to bring back the sliding pits in Vero Beach and teach him how to slide.
Well,
when you said, I can see him with the gloves, that's a terrific, and I thought, I got to tell you the truth, babe, he doesn't have it.
Well, you know, usually a lot of guys, so that they don't ever put their fingers out or anything, will put it in their hands just to remind them. But I didn't realize he's diving head first.
Head first. There's Dave Winfield. Struck out, flied to left, and walked. He's 0 for 2. Niedenfuhr delivers, and a little slider for a strike. 0-1.
We don't have to worry about his fingers. We got to worry about his eyes and shoulders.
Oh, what a beating he takes. And he's a great kid, built like an ox, but, you know, you hate to see him taking all that punishment. Niedenfuhr into his windup, and the strike one pitch. Winfield takes low, 1-1. Davis struck out, fly deep to left, walked, made a good throw to get Cey. Niedenfuhr is due to lead off for the Dodgers in the 8th inning, so it's a reasonable assumption that this is his last inning of work. It's been Royce, Castillo, Goltz, and Niedenfuhr. Tom ready, and the 1-1 pitch. Down and away. Ball 2, 2-1. Tomorrow night, Tommy John and Bert Hooton. Hope you'll join us from Yankee Stadium right here, 8:10 p.m. on most of these same stations. Winfield with a count 2-1. Niedenfuhr into the windup, and the 2-1 pitch is popped up behind the plate. Yeager coming back with his glasses glistening in the lights, and Steve makes the catch for the out.
You know, Vinny, Tom Lasorda is really advancing this young pitcher, though, by pitching him here in the series. He's just moved him ahead a year quicker than he probably would have been able to do it.
Yeah, because he also pitched in the pressure of Houston, and he pitched in Montreal. Now he's in the World Series, and all in his first year.
Well, if you go back over Tommy's career with all their players when they were young, he was not afraid to play young players, and they have all come through and paid off for him.
Well, his philosophy is, hey, they're here. I want to use them.
I don't blame him, especially when they're this good looking.
Lou Piniella double to right, single to left, and popped up. Takes a strike. So Piniella is 2 for 3, scored a run, and driven in one. His single scored Mumphrey in the 3rd inning. 0-1, the count to Lou Piniella. Bob Watson waiting his turn on deck. Right-handed Niedenfuhr delivers. Fastball hits to straightaway center. Guerrero turning now, waiting as he still backs up some more. It makes the catch for the out. 2 down in the 7th inning.
The first baseman, Bob Watson.
Niedenfuhr gave up a base hit to Bob Watson in the 5th inning, and he has retired 8 in a row since then. Pretty impressive performance. Of course, he's wearing a number that should bring back some memories around these parts. Number 49. It was worn way back by Joe Black for the Dodgers, and it was also worn by another great rookie relief pitcher with the New York Giants named Hoyt Wilhelm. So 49 brings back some numbers.
It's not too bad, and also Ron Guidry wears 49. They're not so pretty good pitchers in 49.
0-1, the count to Bob Watson. The 3-run home run in the 1st inning was the big blast that really got the Yankees off the pad. Then he walked and singled. And the strike one pitch to Bob is taken low, 1-1.
You know what I like about this young man, too, and like Gossage and Davis, he rolls at you. When he's coming at you, arms and legs are coming, and then the ball.
Tough to pick it up. The 1-1 pitch on the way, lifted back of first and down the line, slicing in the corner as it goes foul, and it will go back in amongst the customers. 1-1 in the count, now 1-2. 2 out in the 7th. When the Dodgers bat in the 8th, a hitter for Niedenfuhr, and then Lopes and Russell. No one throwing in the Dodger bullpen, however, with 2 out. Does that make you wonder about whether they're going to hit for him or not?
Well, they're going to hit for him, Benny, but they'll probably jump somebody up when the inning starts. It won't take long to have a wide warm-up at half inning.
1-2. Niedenfuhr ready, and the 1-2 pitch is lined to right field. Monday goes back a little bit and makes the catch for the out. So Niedenfuhr retired 9 in a row after the base hit. He hasn't worked that much in a while. And at the end of 7, the Yankees 5, Dodgers 1.
Enjoy Jay's Okie Doke Cheese Popcorn. Light popcorn with a delicious cheese flavor.
Hi, Pat Summerall to remind you that the most important tools you buy are the ones you use most often. And Master Mechanic tools from True Value hardware stores are made to meet rigid standards that assure you of quality performance no matter how often you use them. Like the Master Mechanic 5-piece drop-forged chrome-plated wrench set for just $9.99 that includes popular sizes for car and home repairs. And to store and transport your hand tools, True Value hardware stores recommend you choose their Master Mechanic 20-inch heavy-gauge steel toolbox for just $12.99. Like all Master Mechanic tools and accessories, the wrench set and toolbox are backed by the promise of satisfaction or a free replacement. And they are available exclusively at participating True Value hardware stores and home centers. And get the current edition of my 4-part, full-color, all-time great Sports Stars collection free with any $10 or more purchase while supplies last at participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
All during the week and over the weekend, CBS Radio's top sportscasters bring you timely and lively information on what's happening. Win Elliott, Jim Kelly, Brent Musburger, Kurt Gowdy, Bill Schweitzer, Len Berman, Howard David. CBS Radio Sports, hear it here on most of these same stations. Coming out of the Yankee bullpen to pitch the last 2 innings, Ron Davis. And Davis will be pitching to Darrell Thomas, a switch-hitting infielder and outfielder. Davis, in postseason, worked 9 innings, struck out 10, earned run average 0.00. I guess he's a little tough to live with if you have to try and hit off him.
You're going to like him, Benny. Right-handers hate him. He has a little trouble with left-handers, which he does. The difference between him and Gossett, he tries to sink his ball more and does have a little problems with left-handers. I just say little. He don't have a great deal of problem, but if he's going to have any trouble, it'll come from left-handed hitters. Right-handers don't like to hit off. He'll even step out and kind of crossfire him a little. Not a dead crossfire, but get out at 3/4 on him.
Why would Billy Martin the other night try to slow things down? Is Davis perhaps vulnerable to slowing down his pace?
I don't know why they particularly did that. I'm not too sure that Billy did that. I think Cliff Johnson, did it and got things going. But, I don't think there was an intention on Billy's part. I think a lot of times Billy gets blamed for a lot of things.
Well, that's true, too. Sure.
And I really don't think that Billy did that. I think that Cliffy was playing for the Yankees, playing little games with them. He was having a little fun with them, and then they got carried away, and one thing led to another, so he did start stalling.
Well, Ron Davis was 4-5 during the regular year. ERA of a little more than 2.5. By the way, the paid attendance tonight, 56,470. That's the 9th largest crowd in new Yankee Stadium history. There's another great statistic you could take to the bank, right?
Yeah, another one. Guidry threw 87 pitches, and, it's an easy night for him, but they like to go to these two guys. They let Guidry go 6-7, Tommy John 6-7. It's a real nice deal they got.
Darrell Thomas, a switch hitter, and he is really a good left-handed batter. He's not much from the other side of the plate. Alejandro Pena is throwing in the Dodger bullpen. And Thomas has given the Dodgers about 3 men because he plays all the positions in the infield. He can play them all in the outfield. The 1-0 pitch, Darrell has a look at ball 2. His dream is to do one of those trick games, play every position and sing the national anthem.
Well, I think he can play all the positions. I don't know how he sings, though.
2-0 to Darrell Thomas. Thomas during the year hit .248, but he hit closer to .280 as a left-handed batter. And Davis is in the dirt, ball 3, 3-0. He goes to his mouth, but he's out on the grass. 3-0 the count. 5-1 Yankees, top of the 8th inning. And Darrell Thomas, the second Dodger pinch hitter. Steve Sachs flied to center in the 5th inning. Now the 3-0 pitch to Darrell. In there, shoots in at the knees for a strike, 3-1.
He has a little more sink on his ball, and the other guy, of course, Gossett, just blasts you out of there. And this guy, the ball's fast, but he will sink the ball a lot.
Does Gossett throw as hard as anybody you've seen?
Yeah, he's like Nolan Ryan. Him and Ryan.
3-1 to Darrell Thomas. Davey Lopes on deck, and then Bill Russell. Davis' 3-1 pitch is snaked inside, ball 4. So Darrell